Hello, Play the Game family. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same-day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community. This episode is brought to you by the one and only G2 Paintball. If you are in Arizona or on the West Coast and soon to be nationally, be on the lookout for G2 training dates and be sure to sign up. They are a paintball athletics company designed to help you become the best paintball athlete imaginable by running you through all of the different moves and techniques that you need to know and you're going to be implementing on the paintball field. So that way when you get into the situations, the muscle memory is dialed in. You are also going to learn skills. You're going to learn tactics, and of course the agility, which is training to maximize your performance on and off the field. This stuff is used by myself and Marcelo, and we're pushing paintball players to become pro or just dominate in your division. Don't make excuses out there. Physical fitness is at an all-time high in paintball, and you cannot win paintball tournaments unless you are ready to go physically on Sunday when you're dead tired and you're ready to hold up that trophy with your friends and family. So you got to be prepared, and G2 will help you do that. Head on over to g2paintball.com. Also check out their Instagram at G2Paintball and give our man Victor Gamboa at Gamboa Limited, that's his Instagram, a follow and support him as well. It's owned and operated by Victor and Rusty, and they're doing tremendous things in the sport. We absolutely love G2, and we cannot wait for you to get involved. So have some fun with G2 Paintball. Today's episode of PTG is brought to you by Transfuse, the amazing premium rapid hydration multiplier and immunity fortifying formula that is scientifically designed to replenish you at the cellular level. And they use all natural ingredients in their products. It is packed full of zinc, vitamin B6, vitamin C, sodium, potassium, and choline. And when you take this product, you are going to feel the difference on and off the field. I know that playing paintball with Transfuse has been a game changer, and it will be for you as well. If you head over to translabs.com, that's translabs.com, and use code PLAYTHEGAME, you will get 10% off. And if you subscribe to a monthly delivery service, you get an additional 10% off. So you can take advantage of a total of 20% off on these amazing products. Also, head over to their Instagram at transfuse.official and check them out, and be on the lookout for their new flavors and brain booster nootropics that are coming soon. We absolutely love Transfuse from top to bottom, one of the best companies in the world with the greatest people running it. So head on over and become a part of their community and check them out.
Yo, PTG fam. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This episode, we have Adam Gardner, the founder of Smart Parts, a legend in the game, the owner of GoG and DLX. Adam has been an integral part of paintball for many, many years and has such valuable insight to the game. PTG listeners, this is the last episode before Christmas, so we won't see you until after the holidays. We wish you guys the very best, and we hope you enjoy the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication. And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
All right, PTG Nation, we have the tremendous honor of having Adam Gardner on the show, one of the most innovative paintball players to ever play this game and an absolute legend in the lineage of paintball. It's a tremendous honor to have you on PTG. How's it going, Adam?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, man, the honor is definitely all ours. And man, just real quick, you're tuning in from where you're tuning in from. For everybody that's listening, you guys are gonna want to check out the YouTube. Adam was kind of giving us a little tour pre-show, but why don't you let the listeners know where you're tuning in from, what's going on back there?
We're at the GoG headquarters in Latrobe, PA. So this is our offices here. I'll share a little peek of it throughout the show,
Nice.
and
Awesome.
it's kind of a neat setup. We've been here for years, so many people
Yeah.
have been here for our tech classes and stuff like that. Same old building.
Yeah.
So
So you got some trophies there. What do we got there in the background there?
that is, if for those of you who remember Big Green, the truck we used to drive around the country in, it was like a
Yeah.
three row dually uh, Centurion crew cab, and we'd fit the whole team in there, drive in the country, jump out with our All American jackets, and if we won, we'd stick another sticker on the back of the truck and try
Yep.
to escape with our tires fully inflated. And that's kind of the what we had in the what it looked like from behind. Tui
Yeah.
Barber, if you remember Tui,
Yes, I
he
do.
did a lot of the logos and stickers, and he put them on there for us. So when we redid our offices here, we recreated that to show some of the history.
Absolutely
So
love it. And it even has the lights on it, like as if it's like a big rig driving down the road, which is pretty cool.
we turn
He's
it on and
showing.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the
So
YouTube, definitely head over and check that out. That is so
Yeah,
cool.
no hesitation, only domination is what it says. First place finishes. Yeah, the All Americans, man, what a legendary organization
yeah,
from
we
top to
ran out
bottom.
of room. This only went to like '02, but we ran out of room on the back.
Hell yeah. I mean, the All Americans, you guys were a part of the big three, which was obviously the All A's. You had Shock and then Ironman. And this was in, the early days there where you guys were just duking it out just about every
Yeah,
event.
we had some good rivalries there. Those, certainly, it was one of those three almost every time. So
Yeah. And you said you try to make it out with your tires intact. So I could definitely tell there was some rivalry out there.
yeah, that wasn't always the fun part, but it
Yeah.
probably happened half a dozen times.
Oh
A
my
couple
gosh.
times they got caught. Most times they did. And the problem is there's so many tires on that truck that they wouldn't just get one.
Oh,
We'd be in
geez.
Charlie's eating our World Cup steak, victory dinner, and come out and have like 10 tires cut.
Oh my
So
gosh. That's crazy.
yeah,
Shout
yeah,
out to
really
Charlie's.
amazing.
He knows.
Yeah,
See? He
yeah,
knows.
that's right.
That's where it all started.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Charlie's. Dude, going to Charlie's Steakhouse has been, if you win World Cup, that's been the thing for as long as I think paintball's been in Orlando.
That's right. You got to go there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I didn't like
What
getting billed afterwards, but it was
Yeah.
always fun.
Yeah, we
What
racked up quite a bill this last year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeesh. Ain't gonna
Oh, yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Every time. What's your go-to meal at Charlie's? What's the winner out there?
I like the fillet. I
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
I can't eat a huge one, so I'm good with
Mhm.
a decent sized fillet.
That's
So
been my move too. I definitely run with the filet. It's outstanding. Top notch.
yeah,
Got to add a little
Mhm.
lobster tail,
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
Yep.
get some of the seafood tower, get some of the crab action, all the little
Mhm.
sides, creamed spinach. They
if
got
I
it
do
all.
all that, I won't finish my fillet. So I got to be really careful with the appetizers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because they have some pretty good desserts there too.
Yes, they do.
I don't think
And
I've
then
gotten dessert. I think by then I'm usually too stuffed on all the appetizers, the fillet, the lobster. Yeah,
You got to plan it all out.
you do.
yeah.
Yeah. What's a go-to dessert?
I like cheesecake, but
Mm.
it depends. They got a lot of good ones.
Mhm.
So it's been a while since I've been at a Charlie's victory dinner. So I still go there. It's just not the same.
Yeah, yeah. And then I see you got these trophies down to your right there. Are those from some of those early wins as well?
Yeah, we've got a lot of them
There we
here.
go. Awesome.
We've got NPPL Chicago's. There were a lot of Chicago's.
Mhm.
Lots of 5-man stuff. There's our original All American
Awesome.
jacket. That's a sweet
YouTube.
bowling jacket. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And
Wow.
then here's our NXL ones, which I think Tyler, you probably played against us in
Yeah.
one of these.
Yep. In
So,
those early days. Dang.
and then early World Cup '94,
Wow.
and this one, it would look a lot better, but you guys know Chuck Hench, right?
Yeah, of
Chuck.
course.
Yeah, good old Chuck. He wanted to borrow our '94 and '96 World Cup trophies for a RP Shearer photo shoot. So we sent them down, and then he sent them back in one box with no bubble wrap or anything.
Oh boy.
So, yeah. So we had a trophy that's all scuffed up and about 20 pieces on the other one. So I was not happy. Yeah.
That's not very nice.
I
You
know.
work hard for those.
Yeah, you know, good old Chuck.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
don't think he thought that part through.
You know what's so funny is I ran into Chuck. We were going to I was going to a paintball tournament. I forget where it was. We were in some airport, but he was going to a surf competition. This was maybe 3 years ago, something like that. Saw him in there. I was like, oh man, Chuck looks the same, still looks great, you know?
Mhm.
Nice.
It's funny.
And I do want to add for everybody who's tuning in, Adam is the original founder of Smart Parts and now obviously DLX Technologies and everything that entails. And you guys have just absolutely hit so many home runs when it comes to innovation and creativity within the paintball landscape. I don't even know how many.
I do want to add, sorry to overtalk, but I got to have my brother as well. My brother actually started it, and then I joined him about 2 years later. He's a couple years older than me. So
And
Bill's still here as well.
Billy Gardner, and you guys have been going at it for quite some time, creating a ton of amazing paintball products. I was going to say, I don't even know how many patents that you guys have on products and, you know, how many different things that you guys have created, but how did that journey all start for you guys?
You know, it really started with my brother, who he kind of did the non-traditional route. He went to college at Worcester in Ohio, and then got his MBA down in Atlanta at Emory. And he knew he wanted to have his own business. So after getting his MBA, he actually went to Vo Technical School to learn machining, which nobody ever does. And the teacher's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Well, I want to make my own paintball gun." So he went through the course and learned how to do that. I was busy getting my MBA in marketing and finance at Pitt, and so I do some study, you know, market surveys for him, some marketing strategies and stuff. And his first gun was called the Boss. It was a pump
The
gun.
Boss.
I actually have one of them here.
No way. For the YouTube,
we
you
have
do not
lots
want to
of
miss this. Whoa.
cool stuff here. So this was the Boss.
There it is.
Gun. We actually played Chicago with it. I think we got like a 4th place with it. But
Boss.
you know, but we made like every single part by hand on his machines and assembled, and realized that kind of stunk.
Wow.
You know, did real well with it. Well, it's not going back up there right now. But
the Boss is with us.
And then he came up with a rifle barrel, and that's really what you know, put Smart Parts on the map. The first ported barrel.
Yeah.
And you know, it was a combination of having the team and trying to, you know, you remember the equipment in the early days. I mean, if we're like, if we could only hit what we're aiming at, we'd be so much better.
Yep.
And so we tried to innovate for ourselves. And then whenever we found stuff that worked and we did well, people wanted to buy it. So, you know,
So that's how it all started.
When you placed an ad and like as soon as it hit, the phone started ringing. It's kind of crazy. So the printed magazine, those days are kind of over. But
now you pay for an ad on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes out to the digital world, straight to the masses. So hold on, I'm sorry, Adam. Did you say that you guys made the first ported barrel?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah, I had no clue. What year was that?
That was my brother. That was 89, 90.
Wow.
So,
my goodness.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, that's huge innovation right there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went down to the Masters and had a booth, and my dad was still alive at the time, and he was selling. It's funny because I actually had this happen to me at Chicago ICPL this year. Mm-hmm. A guy came up and asked me how my dad was doing, and I gave him this weird look, like, "Do you mean my dad or my brother?" He's like, "Well, Bill, you know, Billy." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's my brother. He's 3.5 years older than me." But for some reason, for 30 years, everyone thinks Billy's my dad,
I
even when we
see.
were playing. It's probably because he had like gray hair, and now he's bald and I have gray hair. But I
Yeah.
was like 18 and he was 22, and people think he's my dad. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
still
That's
today, the
funny.
guy his mind was blown. He's like, "That's
No way.
he's not your dad." I'm like, seriously. So,
Everyone used to think that my brother was my dad and my dad was my grandpa.
yeah,
But rightfully so. My brother is, oh gosh, I mean, I'm 31. He's like 57, 58, something like that now.
a big
Yeah,
ratio.
my dad was old. So a big gap. So I understood that. But it was always like, no, that's my brother and my dad, not my dad
Mhm.
and grandpa. People couldn't wrap their brains around it.
What a cool
So we
thing to
started
do with your
making.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. My parents had their own business. We come from generations of people who have been entrepreneurs and ran their own business. My mom was a chemical engineer. She helped develop
Wow.
actually had patents on smoke free foam that DuPont said it couldn't be done, and she formulated the foam mattresses where they put them in prisons and naval ships and trains, so that the fire wouldn't kill the whole cell block, and
Yeah.
and eventually sold their company to a public company and did real well with it. My
Wow.
dad was a lawyer and he just loved business. So, but my
Mm.
grandparents on both sides, the same thing. So for probably 100 to 150 years, it's all been uh, people, entrepreneurs who had their own businesses. So kind
Yeah.
of didn't know any other way of
Yeah.
doing stuff.
That was the path for sure. And absolutely, you got the innovation bug. Like I said, do you have any idea how many patents you guys have, or how many ideas that you guys have come up with in this game?
Yeah, we have a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
we're I am not the main designer guy. Really, that's my brother's the best at that. I mean, he's
Hmm.
always, he comes up with a lot of ideas. I would say half of them are horrible, but every one or two of them are just genius.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. And he's always tinkering. I mean, it doesn't matter what he's doing. He likes to think of different ways of doing stuff. He
Of
does a
course.
lot of golf now, and he wanted to restart his game, so he bought left-handed clubs and tried to do that, and he was terrible at it. But just the type of stuff, and he'd bend them, and now he does all right. But yeah, that's just the way he thinks of things. Nobody else would go
Yeah.
try to erase their swing by changing hands when they're not left-handed. It's hard enough.
That seems pretty wild. I could
Yeah,
hardly hit the golf ball with my right hand. It's,
yeah,
it's not going to cross my mind to go and try left hand. But hey, maybe that's the key. Actually,
yeah.
maybe I need to give that a shot. Yeah.
But it's a lot. We have fun with it. I mean, we're a lot of the guys here for years. I mean, we've all been paintball players. That's one of the things that set us apart from some of the companies earlier in the day. We were a team and players, first, but we also had the business side of it, and a lot of the other companies at the time really didn't have the paintball players. They were all the business side, and it
Mm.
set us apart. I mean, there are certainly ones that came around our time as and played and started their own as well. But that was a big difference between like the air gun designs and the butt oars and some of the other ones. I mean, we were a competitive team. Perlmutter with PMI and all those guys. A lot of the bigger companies really weren't player based to start.
Hmm. Yeah. And you guys had that
So
first inside look essentially at what you wanted, to field with.
yeah, and I mean, you look at Dave. I mean, he started with Dye, started doing
Mhm.
stuff. Rennick. I mean, he didn't manufacture like that, but Bob Long did, and
Yeah.
a lot of the early guys kind of you know went in the same direction, which was pretty neat. But that also made for the rivalries that we had because we weren't just competing on the field; we were competing in the business and competing at pretty much every every day of our lives.
Yeah.
So I think it made it even more of an intense rivalry than it might
Hmm.
have been today, where it's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
super interesting. I guess that probably would have fueled the Ironmen and All Americans rivalry, right? Because it's also the companies behind them. You guys have a long-standing rivalry on the field. That is interesting there.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the reasons why. I mean, there was a lot of, there wasn't a lot of team player switching back then. I mean, it happened, but not, the same way. I mean, it was, you look at Bob's early guys. I mean, a lot of them never played anywhere else, and same for the All A's, and I'd say same for most of the early shot guys.
Yeah.
They all live and die.
Yeah,
They're
very tribal.
Yeah, other than Daryl, who's got an Ironman tattoo on his ankle and played for us.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he's got that big Ironman tattoo right there on his calf. Or is it his ankle or his calf?
I think his calf.
His calf. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
It's all one thing
awesome.
now.
Shout out to Daryl Trent. We gotta get him on the show too. Yeah, it's all.
Yes, we do.
Legendary.
He's such a legend too, man. Daryl, and that was a huge move at that time when Daryl made that move.
Yeah, it was. So.
Yeah, that was breaking news for that era in paintball. And you guys, as the All Americans, were one of the first really professionally run organizations with the way that you guys did trades, from what I understand, and you had the team house. You had a bunch of things that really made that organization something truly professional, and it was the first of its kind, essentially, when that was going on.
Yeah, a lot of that was with Philly. When
Yeah.
when it became Philly Americans.
Mhm.
We had a number of the guys who worked for us, and but we had the All American Paintball Park, was an awesome training facility. We could play year round, and I got sick of paying for hotel rooms every other weekend, so I bought a local house. I'm glad I didn't know everything that went on there. But
sounds like a liability.
yeah, it was. There were a lot of people who had a lot of fun in that house, and they had some amazing parties. It's funny because I sold the house, and after all the guys had moved out, and there was this, I think it was Virgin Mary statue or whatever. It was probably 2 feet high. I didn't know where it came from. It was just always in the house, and we put it at the front door and kind of propped the door over. And within 5 minutes, the neighbor comes over. He's like, my wife says that looks like a lot like the Virgin Mary statue we had in our garden about 8 years ago. And do you think that might be ours? And apparently there was one of those parties, and there was a bet, and someone went across and grabbed the stat. Who steals a Virgin
Oh
Mary?
no, yeah, not
Like,
her.
this is the worst karma. I'm like, oh my God, please take it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh boy. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
just stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that house was, iconic. And like I said, it was the first of that type of really professional run organization where you guys had, like you said, the park, you had the team house, and you really treated it like a pro run organization should.
yeah, really with X-Ball, I mean, I would say there's always ups and downs in a team in history that as the game changes, and you have to be able to adapt. And I would say that, X-Ball really kicked us back into, I'd say from a period of decline to right back in the game, because, I think with airball and the way the game had evolved, we'd always do real well, but you try playing shock at a World Cup when there's 14-year-old Boy Scouts reffing, and the big lumberjacks look at them, and the kid says, "You're out," and they say, "I will kill you." And the kid would run over to our side of the field, scared to death, and so it became really difficult, for us. And X-Ball changed everything because it became a game of organization and strategy, a whole bunch more refs and instant penalties and all of those things. And it kind of kicked back into the skill set we had. And, obviously the first 2 seasons we did great. When we weren't, we'd still win events here and there, but it wasn't, like we were a couple years earlier where we were really dominating. It was a time where, it was perfect timing for us to, jump right back to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Everything goes in cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was around like 04 in that
A little bit
time?
before that, 03, 04. I actually
Yeah.
have them right there. You remember that,
Yeah.
Tyler?
Yep.
You played the
Absolutely.
finals.
Yep. Yeah. The
But
NXL. Yeah.
03, 04, and it probably would have been the end of 02. Did Dynasty win the World Cup in 02 airball?
2001.
Okay.
2001.
Because I remember going
Sure.
from airball where we didn't do that great, and then we played the first exhibition match there, and I think we went out and beat Dynasty in that, and we were like, wow, this is
Mm.
pretty cool. And then the next year it was probably that at the amateur they did the big 25-minute thing with, I think it
Yeah.
was Russians and someone else, and then it was probably 03 the NXL started. So it probably was 2001 at the end of that when they did the first X Ball match
Yeah.
after Cup.
What was it like being in that era, part of those conversations? X Ball's a new format on the scene, getting the TV deals. We'll definitely talk about that as well with the Smart Parts event that you had that was televised. What was it like in that era of realizing that the sport was getting this kind of traction?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was great in a lot of ways, but um, in I felt there needed to be a change. I mean, I'll step back. I mean, in the early days, you had the tournament promoters, the Lively series and stuff like that, and then Jerry Braun started doing his stuff, and it got to the point. Remember, the early NPPL was done by the players and the teams
Mm-hmm.
because I was at those meetings. That was I'm trying to think of the exact date of that. It's probably on here somewhere, but it got to the point where the players wanted more. They wanted a better event. They want better refereeing and, bring your own paint and, prize money and things like that. And that's how the NPBL started originally. And that worked pretty well. I mean, I feel that an event is kind of only as good as its referees. And that's still true today. If the referees are terrible, teams are going to start pushing the boundary, and you get into that thing where you either do it or you lose, and it changes the true competition. And prior to X Ball, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into this, but I mean, there were events like Boston where the famous Mikey Bruno out of bounds,
Yeah. Talk to
buying
me about
our
that.
camo from our booth, wearing it, going out of bounds, coming behind us. I mean, it was getting pretty extreme in the things that were happening. And,
I always heard that was like a folklore, like an ancient myth, but talk to me about that. Is that actually what happened?
Mike, you haven't had Mikey on here? Yeah, no,
Not
their
yet.
whole strategy was it actually was a perfect example of karma, but we're playing, I think it was semifinals, and I can see one guy doing something rogue. They had a whole strategy here where he started in the flag station, went out of bounds through a swamp, and came in behind us. And he actually shot my brother first, who was
No
way in
way.
the back, and the thing was, he did this yell, and after he shot like two or three of us, he actually came up in the Ironman game on the other field and realized he screwed up and came up in the wrong field. But then he eventually found his way behind us. And the weird thing about it is when he made this call, they all ran at us, figuring they'd have a number. We almost beat them, but they did get the max and the points. And I forget who the fourth team was, but we went into our last game where we were playing Bob's Ironman on an airball field, and this was in Boston. And I think we could lose one guy, which never happens on a 10-man airball field. And Shock's all standing at the sideline right near Bob's flag and just smiling and laughing. And I don't think we lost a guy. And Frank Connell runs over and grabs the flag and looks at it and says, "You're going home." And they went out despite having like no odds of going in. I think Image might have won now and got second, but it was very satisfying to see Shock do that, get away with it, and then still not make it.
Man.
But it was kind of the back to your question of airball and being involved in that. I thought it was just a really good change for the sport to emphasize the skill level. I mean, you see it now. I mean, it's hard to compare generations, but the players' skill level, left-handed, right-handed shooting, they may not be any good in the woods, but they're really good on an airball, running and shooting from any position and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's pretty neat to see, and I think it's great. It doesn't mean, I think as an industry, it kind of hurt the sport for a while because everybody jumped into this X-ball airball format, and anyone who was slow or, couldn't run to the corner without getting shot 5 times. I mean, I remember when we first played you, I mean, the rates of fire were super high. Yeah. And, so it pushed a lot of people out of the game. The young kids got shot up and said, "This stinks." Or moms saw 15 welts on their neck and said, "Yeah, you're not doing that." And so I think we paid a price by going so heavily to airball and X-ball format, but it's kind of come around now where, like we talked about with Tim, is with the 10-man coming back, and the game can be fun for everybody in a different format. So I love seeing the pro at a super high skill level, fast pace. You can watch it now and really follow it, and so I think those things are great.
I so agree, Timmy. Adam. I mean, Tyler and I talk about it all the time on the show. You're right. There was a time where we, as an industry, kind of said we're all in on this X-ball style of play, and any other kind of paintball is going to be obsolete eventually. And now I believe we've come around to the understanding of all paintball is good, right? Whatever kind of formats you're playing, if you just enjoy playing the game of paintball, and it can be played in so many different ways, like in other sports, it's the same thing. Snowboarding, some people like to go really fast down the mountain, some like to do tricks on the half pipe. Right. There's different ways to ride your snowboard. There's different ways to shoot your paintball gun in different formats, and I think we've done a great job. And I think that's why, I don't know, I mean, you'd probably be a better person to ask, but I feel like paintball is in a really great position right now. And I think people are really excited about playing and, all sorts of paintball.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's if there's, I mean, COVID obviously is a horrible thing for the world, but it was probably something that massively benefited paintball because everyone was stuck at home and couldn't do anything, that they normally do, whether it be vacation or go out to eat or go to the movies. And when they finally realized, hey, I can go play paintball because it's outside and it's safe and you're far away, it brought so many new players to go out and have fun, and it kind of gave our industry a big boost. That's about the only positive thing that's happened from it. But I'm certainly sure we'd all trade that to not having had it. But I see. The industry is starting to get healthy again, and people are having fun playing it. And like you said, in a million different formats, it's all fun. And that's the point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get out there and play, have some fun and play some paintball. That's where it's at.
Right.
Totally. And just so much love and appreciation for Tim Montresor for really igniting that flame again of 10-man events and old school players, getting back out there and just all sorts of paintball. Before we went live, and actually, Ty, before you got in here, Adam, if you don't mind, could we maybe go and show that beautiful picture you have again? That was amazing. So for the listeners, gotta check out the YouTube right now. They have an amazing
dash that scares anybody walking in.
There we go.
So getting a bird's eye view. We got American. The office here.
Yeah, this
is a beautiful place.
This is the picture of Tim that was actually taken from him at ICC sitting on the Roque. And
Wow.
So awesome.
so we kind of took out a lot of the background. I had that, it's like a oil canvas, artist filled it in and recreated it. And so he's always in our conference room. He always loved the business side just as much as the paintball side. And, you know, he spent his life playing paintball and loving paintball and just living, you know, that dream. And so he's here with us. So
That is so
Tim
amazing.
Montressor is paintball through and through. You know, he truly lived that lifestyle.
Breakout at ICC.
Nice.
This is some of Tim's trophies that we still have here in his office. So.
You have got to see this. If you are not on the YouTube, you're missing out. There is so much gold going on right now. He's showing us all the trophies. And God bless Timmy and everything he did in paintball.
Calendar for 2020. That one's really sad.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, this is that's Sam Monville's office.
Sammy. There we go.
Boy.
Yep. Russell.
Yeah, Russ. Got the whole squad.
So, some of the old guns that we did.
You got so many.
Yeah, that was Chewy's Automag from the day.
Whoa.
Right,
that's a piece.
Look at those.
Dang.
One of the very first New Venture shockers that we made, first electronic paint gun.
What year was that one, that shocker?
Trying to think of the exact. When was Jerry Braun's original ESPN wooden board thing?
I want to say 94 off the top of my head, but I don't know.
It's right around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was actually where we debuted that. Not to sidetrack here into a different conversation, but that was where we made the stupid mistake of showing the world our gun before it was fully to market.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I assume people tried to get in on that.
Well, yeah, actually, that was, I don't know if you guys did you guys watch John Amadeus' History of Paintball?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't finish. I didn't watch all of it. We had a huge viewing party
in there, but there was I'm not going to name names, but there was a gentleman who worked for WDP at the time who everyone probably knows pretty well right now because he works for a different gun manufacturer from England. And he was sent over to do, to check out. He played with the Banzais at the time, and he came over and, we were working with New Ventures on that gun, and Billy and I had the idea for it, and they were out of aerospace, and they really wanted to start promoting it, even though it wasn't fully ready. And so, like dumbasses, we showed it off, and this individual was there and filmed it and went back to WDP and said, they were working on a gun called the Angel, a cross between the Automag and the Autococker. And they said, this is the future. We need to have an electronic gun. And at the Amateur Open, right as we were going to debut the shocker, J.J. Brookshire from Brass Eagle jumped ahead of us and introduced them and said, we're WDP's here with the first electronic gun, which just steamed us to no end. And then the battle began.
So that's so funny because I was going to say, I thought that WDP had the first electronic gun. I didn't know that you guys had that there.
I have a sworn affidavit from this individual.
Oh, wow.
From
the proof.
From the lawsuits is exactly how it went down. And they came, they saw our idea, they took it, and they ran with it. They knew we had patents, so they didn't care. So, but they were very good at marketing and very good at the politics side of things. And I think we all learned our lesson from all of that. But I'll give them that. They were fighters. And they made a good product. So,
well, I'm sure it only inspired you and your family to create and, go above and beyond and make great paintball products.
Yeah. That's what we do. That's what we love to do. So, we've been doing it since 89, it's 30 some years. So
yeah,
we'll keep doing it.
That was when I was born, 89. Shout out to
Nice.
89. And Adam, let me
Boy, that
just be the
makes me
first.
feel really old.
Well, dude, you paved the way, for me to be shooting this gun that I'm shooting right now that is from the DLX Technologies family, and the thing shoots like butter. I mean, honestly, I have yet to shoot a gun that shoots this smooth and accurately. It is really a special gun that you guys have created with that.
But we have a great team here. I mean, we're always trying to improve stuff and make it better, just like everybody else. But you know, we have great input and testers. I mean, again, we have Ryan come in and Ryan Moorhead will come in and
The best.
he'll just go through every little aspect of the gun. We have Chad George is here a lot of the time. Sam's
Yep.
here. So, aside from all us, we have current guys who, how
Mhm.
hard it is to make some pros happy. So if we can make our guys super happy, and we want them to be
Yeah.
picky and try it in all different conditions, because I think it was funny because the time that we were, Billy and I had come up with the idea, but we haven't made, the shocker yet. It was back in the day. Again, it was all Automag and Autococker, and we weren't really in that group of people. We used Automags and we used Autocockers at one time, but I think the comment between, I believe it was Tom K, was the guns have evolved as far as they're going to go,
Mm.
and you really can't make a better paintball gun. And we were thinking, we
Watch us.
don't agree with that.
Yeah.
And they were really mad when we went and brought out the shocker. I mean, they like, they didn't like it.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people never thought it would work.
Mm.
They thought it was dumb, but obviously, years later, that's,
Mhm.
it was everything
That
like that.
that original shocker was so iconic. Remember Dynasty rocking
Yeah.
those things. It over here on the West Coast, those like blue kind of faded Dynasty shockers back in the day where everyone wanted one of those things. They were so badass.
Yeah, no, we had some good years with Dynasty shooting them.
Yep.
Yeah, and real quick, just I want to stay on this track, but the ESPN World Championships was 1996.
Oh, perfect.
The
The
Jerry.
one- yeah, exactly. Yep, the finals. I got it here. Iron Man versus the Turtles. It's that one, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
That was in January of
Yep.
96. So
Yep.
that's would have been like the first day it was shown at all. And then,
Mhm.
Gosh, I was 6 years old.
yeah.
Actually, I was 5 years old. I hadn't turned 6 yet. That's
Nice.
crazy. It's just a pup.
And to kind of continue on there, you guys have sponsored some of the biggest teams over, the last 20, 30 years to ever play paintball. You've got obviously, Philly and Strange as well, and then also Dynasty. How does that feel to have been a part of such iconic organizations?
I mean, it was pretty neat in the day. There were a lot of teams. I mean, sponsorship's a difficult thing. I mean, you want to, especially when you're playing, but during the days where Smart Parts was going crazy and the industries was growing and blowing up in early X Ball days, I mean, we had a lot of teams, and it was kind of pretty neat. A lot of people, have good memories of those times and the guns they shot in the teams. I mean, there were some awesome teams, probably too
Mhm.
many to even name, but um, it was kind of cool at times to show up with our big trucks and
Yeah.
have our campground with all our different teams there, and it's pretty neat.
That's exactly what it was too. It was like a fortress. It was a whole camp, and you had the Smart Parts Army rolling through. And World Cups were always just so amazing with the huge venue that would be put on with those World Cups.
I remember we had the 3 trucks
Yeah,
at one time. It was a little nuts, a little overboard, but
Yeah.
Yeah, each of those factories almost have their own little compound.
right.
Yeah.
That's
Each
what it
of the
was.
companies.
Kind of
Like,
tent city and
yeah.
it's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. You're starting to see. I feel like the World Cups are starting to feel the way they used to, like the magnitude of the event. With how big, like this last one. I think the NXL is doing a great job of making the events feel like they used to.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I would love to see. I would love to see the free pro field and stuff like that, because I remember the days like, the '03, '04, and even after that, where the crowds were. I mean, there wasn't a spot in the stands. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, everyone was screaming.
Hmm.
It was a little different because you could talk back then,
Mm-hmm.
sidelines, and
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
many people yelled you couldn't hear much anyway. But you know, I there were some really. I think the bleachers were a lot bigger and a lot fuller then, and certainly some of that. I mean, some of it's there's so many people there and they're all playing events, but you want you I think that is something that could improve on, and but everyone's got to run a business and pay for all this stuff too. It's not cheap. So you know
They
there's a bunch of ways of doing that, but I think you guys would love to see a couple thousand people there with stands packed and screaming and having fun.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than a really cool paintball photo with empty bleachers behind you.
Right.
That there's nothing worse in my opinion. It just looks lousy, right? They have done a cool thing. I know that they're offering a free section now. That's cool. They've at least opened it up, so there is a section that anyone can come and watch the pro games. I do
Right.
wonder if coaching would bring some of that participation back, right? If people could talk from the stands, that definitely got people involved and was an exciting thing for people that were there.
There are pros and cons to it. I mean, you know you could, whether it helps or doesn't help, it certainly would help in certain circumstance, but it's really hard to hear too. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember
Right.
the early ones I'd use the crowd, like, against the guy, because
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
there was one of those had a cutout in the snake, and I'd start down the line and everyone yell, "He's coming," and the guy would pop out, and then I cut inside,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it worked great.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
other times it's, I'm sure it was frustrating as heck when you make this awesome move and someone says he's coming and you get
Yeah.
blown up where you would have wanted. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that's the worst.
you're gonna try all these things, and some will work and some won't. But it was a neat experience, and I liked when I was not playing. I mean, I sideline coach for Chad George for a couple years. It was awesome. It
That's
was
a fun
like I was
job.
this little
Yeah.
machine gun, and I could be there even though I'm not on the game,
Mhm.
and help him. And it was great when I maybe told him something good and he won a point, and it really sucked when I told him the wrong thing and got his head blown off. Like, oh, sorry
Yeah.
about that.
I wonder if
He's
there's a
nominated for iconic player of the year as the snake player. The iconic
Nice.
awards just debuted on all those nominees, so he's nominated for that, which is really awesome. And I do want to say it's so great that you guys still have top level pro players in the company. Like Ryan, Sam, Chad, they're all there and they're working their butts off to make these products even better than they already are, and giving you guys real firsthand experiences on how the gear is working as well.
It makes all the difference. It really does, because things change, and whether it be styles or needs or
Yeah.
everything.
Hmm.
And they're the best of the best right now to help us figure out what we've got to do, not just now but in our next models and designs, and
Yeah.
and it's good to have that feedback. Without it, you could make you know something that maybe we think is fine but it
Hmm.
really isn't, and by the time you figure it out, you're already to market or it's too late. It takes like a long time to take a new design from idea and concept and try everything and test it to market. I mean, it's at least
Mhm.
2 years. So it's,
Yeah.
you really have to have that testing and that reliable feedback, not just someone who throws it in their bag and yeah, it was good. But
Yeah.
you want to try all different scenarios. So
Mm.
Yeah, it's crucial, in all the different conditions, paintball tournaments. If you've been to many paintball tournaments, you know that you're going to be playing in all the elements. So the
oh yeah,
equipment needs to be able to work in all of them.
and an advantage can swing. I mean, paint's one of the biggest things
Oh yeah.
to even still. I mean, you can go from doing great on Friday and Saturday, and the weather changes on Sunday, and now your paint's bouncing and theirs isn't. And, you better be a lot better than the other team at that point,
How
because
how do you feel about the different paint companies like taking turns on events? So, all of the teams have to shoot the same paint.
I think it'll just lead to inferior paint and inferior competition between the paint companies. I mean, you want to keep them honest. Um, that was kind of one of the one of the first things Billy and I did. I mean, the evil paintball was that the brittle
Yeah.
paint
Yeah.
Yeah.
back in the
The
day was.
iconic white shell, pink fill.
There
That
was
was
the
amazing.
RP Shearer had, they were a group of primarily field owners. They weren't tournament guys, and they sponsored the All Americans, and they invited us down to their headquarters, and they had all their people there and their engineers there, and they're showing us this chart of a drop test. And they're like, look, it used to break down here, and we've got it all the way up here. And Billy and I are like, their chart's going the wrong way.
Right.
Where, we like raise our hand. We're like, yeah, that might be great for fields, but as players, that isn't what we want. We want a brittle ball that's not going to break on our gun, but it's going to break when we hit somebody. And the field owners are like, just shut up. You guys don't know what you're talking about. And they had a really good CEO, and he listened and he said, hey, we want to have two different types of paint. We want the field owner paint that does what the fields want, but we also want to have, a ball that works for teams and players. And the product of that was evil, and it was really good. It's funny because Shock was kind of super bent because Shock was out of Chicago and Perlmutter was out of Chicago, and here the All A's had a better paint than they did. So then they, of course, weaseled their way into getting it as well. And, but that was, back when the Ironman had, what was that, Bullseye, their bright pink stuff. You guys may not remember that, but I forget the guy's name who did that. But, that stuff was just brutal too. So, I mean, there was really this competition, not just on guns and players and playing, but it was all the way across the product line. And, you don't want the paint companies. There aren't that many of them now. I mean, there's consolidation, but you want to have them perform to be able to get the business. Otherwise they won't care.
They'll cut corners, of course. Yeah.
They will. I mean, it's a business. They got to make money, and they want to make money, but if they don't have to make it, put in the extra effort to make it mark better and break better and store it right in refrigerated containers and go through that effort, then you guys will be just shooting the crap out of each other with marbles, and it'll really suck because you'll make a great move and you'll bounce the guy,
I had no idea that that you also had a hand in like the early evil paint and all that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool story going down there. Yeah, the field owners were not happy with our
That's funny.
I remember playing you in 2003.
Yeah.
And I ran to the snake corner and two balls went right through my pods.
No.
So I'm pretty sure you guys were shooting a little hot back then. I'd never had that happen. Bobby was pretty creative with things.
Honestly, I wish I knew,
Fast
but
and
I
hot.
was such a noob, on the team. I didn't have any cool things if there was any. I don't know, but I was the greenhorn that was just like, go get him, T,
Taking it to the grave.
Think of some of the technology. I mean, you guys probably haven't even played with it since then, but I mean, the NXL, we were able to use radar chronos from the side to not only determine rate of fire, but also velocity of every ball.
Yeah.
I mean, just think of how difficult that is to do and how amazing that it was done. And now it's all, nobody does it anymore, but that's pretty cool. Technology. It was funny that we were playing trauma, and there was argument as whether there should be a rate of fire. And I think, it was Rob Stodinger, those guys thought their guns were faster. And it's kind of one of those things where whenever you feel you have an advantage, you don't want to change it. So Mike Ratko came to our practice and had one of the first, chronos that could measure the full velocities that way, or the rate of fire. And when they realized we were able to shoot like 28 balls a second and they were at like 25, then we had to start talking about rate of fire discussion, and now it's come down, and I think it should come down. It was pretty crazy. Nobody needs to, that's one of the things that hurt the game is the technology kind of got ahead of it. But I think velocity and rates of fire, it's important, but it was kind of one of the ways the game changed. It was a wild west when we first started playing on an NXL. So
yes, it was. I remember they would actually bring the I think it was at the 7-man and some of the NXL, the robot that was traveling around,
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't play as much of the 7-man because that was kind of that time where I played a couple of events. I think I played with Dynasty once in one of those. But yeah.
Yeah, the robot was, for people who don't know, was this machine that they would take to all the events, and it would, you'd put your gun on the robot, and it would tell you exactly what the gun is doing and all the details on the shot and the rate, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So back to your question, I don't like events where it's just one paint company. I don't think that would be beneficial for anybody.
The only thing it would do is even the playing field. So, the paint wouldn't be a factor. Like you play basketball, you play football, and the ball is standardized. But I agree with you. I'm on your side of things too. You would get worse and worse paint, I would imagine, right? But I mean, the players that aren't sponsored by those companies would also, have a voice and speak up if the paint was too bad, and that would probably tarnish the brand a little bit. Be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that's part of the game. I mean, I can see maybe evening up, but I'm not sure that you still have paint management,
Of course. Yep. Of course. Which is a huge one. Paint management is so important. I'm still blown away that so many of the pro teams don't understand paint management today in the pro division. It's unbelievable.
It's hard enough to get some of them to realize the benefit of the inserts. I mean, people pick an insert because they like the color, right? No, that's not what you do. You need to have it. You can blow it through through your barrel. If you can do that, then it's just right. If it rolls through, it's too loose. If it's too tight, you're going to break paint. You're shooting it, 10 plus balls a second. You need it to be perfect. And if a ball gets caught, the next one's going to hit it and blow it up.
Yeah, that's funny.
Guys, you just look at them like, how long have you been playing? How can you not know this? And they don't.
It's imperative. The paintball is the one thing that really matters. I mean, pretty much above all, obviously you got to play good. You got to connect out there and make all the right moves and all these things. But man, you're playing paintball. That paintball better be dialed in proper, Yeah,
without good paint, I mean, it doesn't matter how good of an aim you are. And, if you hit him and it bounces, he's not out. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the paint has gotten significantly smaller too. It's funny. I remember back in the day, it was like 692 was the bore size you would typically go with, be on the safe side. Now, I don't think companies even make 692s anymore.
Yeah, it's changed, and it's sometimes different around the world too. I remember playing in Brazil, and I think I might have had the only 695 barrel, and
holy smokes!
We had like one guy who could shoot. I had egg balls getting stuck in my feed tube.
Oh, wow.
It was so bad, but we're fighting over who got the barrel.
Yeah.
Because that guy had some really good games.
Yep. So. Absolutely. Yeah, you got to size the paint up. You got to take care of it when you're, before you play the games, and make sure that, every advantage you can give yourself, why not? Instead of leveraging it the other way against you, you got to take all those advantages you can get.
I mean, really at the level, you're playing at it today, you see the difference between the top 3 or 4 teams is not that big of a difference. Anyone can win on that given day. So it's those little things that, may determine who wins. It's 1 or 2 key points. If, you're playing on a one-on-one and he bounces you and you hit him, that's like a 2-point swing. And that's the difference between going home or, holding the trophy. And, so it doesn't mean it'll always work out that way, but it's a sport, it's a game. It's just like Chicago ICPL. I mean, we were playing in the semifinals. We just had to not lose. And 5 minutes into the game, this torrential downpour comes, and we were just not prepared for. I could not see at all. I didn't have a visor on. I don't have a speed feed because I carry 2 pods anyway. But I was sitting there watching. I know where the guy's going to go. I'm waiting for him, and he moves across and shoots me right in the face, and I'm just like, oh my God. Sitting here for 10 minutes just knowing we got this one, and I just could not see. And, so stuff happens. And the more you prepare for all those little things, the better your chance of winning.
Yeah, that tournament looked fun. And shout out to the 2 pods. I've heard about this 2 pods where you and even Moorhead said, I don't think I've ever seen him grab the second one.
One
You're
is
accurate.
for any of the teammates who drop or run out, and the other is in case I can fall and need a load. I barely have to reload, and that's I don't intentionally do that. It's just how I play the game.
That's how you play.
But, yeah. I remember in Toulouse, France, running out it was in the finals, and I'm like, God, I'm so fast. And I realized I forgot my harness. So I had a loader, and I think I shot like four of the guys, and it was really pretty cool. I don't do that on purpose, but I felt like an idiot if I had blown it. But I've just always been that way. I'm not a good sweet spotter. Don't ask me a sweet spot. It's not going to happen. But as I play, I feel that I want to have the advantage if I'm playing you one-on-one. So I'm not going to keep popping out until one of us gets hit. I want to find a different angle where I have the advantage and I can get my one shot and then adjust from it. And, it worked well for me. It doesn't work in all situations, and as you get older, it's harder to get in those key spots. So, it can become a liability, but usually on a field, there's a good spot. I like getting up front, even as old as I can. I like being right in the middle of it because that's my game. So
I saw you balling at the ICC.
He jumped over the snake, bunkered our guys. He balled out in the All-Star game. Yeah. It was more of like a Legends game, but yeah.
I shot Chad. It was funny because he said he was going to shoot me. And I found a way, dove over him. The second time I bounced him, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, fun. You got to have that timing down and that that sense of when you can go and not go. But it's fun. I still enjoy it.
It's been great
my
watching.
son's playing with me, which is cool. Jude is 17, and I hadn't even started playing paintball yet at 17. I started when I was about 18, and so. He came to the first ICC and watched, and he's like, was really hooked, and we started playing, and now he's got some really good skills. He's got a lot to learn in a lot of areas, but he's super patient and he's calm under fire. He doesn't panic. He doesn't love getting shot, but he likes talking trash and telling dad he sucks and all that stuff.
Yeah, I saw him out at World Cup, and he did really well out there. I think that they actually won in their division. I think maybe 2 divisions actually.
Yeah, we played the 5, 7, and 10 man. And won the 7 and 10. Our other squad won the 5, and the year before we played with Adrenaline on the 10 man and won that. It was pretty cool. So that was airball, and so he's he's having fun with it. He likes X ball. He likes woods ball. He's learning it all. So it's kind of neat.
Oh, that's
really a reason for me to keep going, because I don't know how long I get to play with him and do that stuff and show him, so it's kind of neat.
Oh, that's super rewarding on so many levels that you guys get to run. Shout out to Jude. If you tune in, keep crushing it out there. And what do you think it was about the 10-man event that really sparked his interest and made him say, damn, I want to get into this? He probably saw his dad balling out and was like, I had no idea. My dad was a baller. And then he was like, I'm getting in the game.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, he always, he would always hang out at work too. So, I mean, he knows a lot of the guys on Philly and Ryan and all those. So it's really just all of that, being part of it, kind of like he's, even though early on he wasn't, he was just kind of helping, he got to be part of it and just see the ups and downs and watch the games and see how cool it was. And, when we won it that year, I mean, that was just like he's like, I got to do this. So this is awesome. So
that's cool. And I hear you actually are a pretty damn good one-on-one player as well. You won an epic watch at some point in like a one-on-one event.
I actually got second, and you remember the things you lose more than you want to win sometimes. But actually, it was Marty Bush, me, Marcus Nielsen, and I in the finals. There were like 60 guys.
No way.
There was top pros back in the day, but it was all Phantom pump guns.
Yeah.
In England, and it was the final three of us at Mayhem, and I actually went against Marty first, and I like instantly gogged him. Oh, so yeah, it was awesome because Marty's like the god of pump guns, and all the Ironmen are standing there watching and talking crap. So then I play Marcus. The problem is the referees were tag watch employees; they weren't referees. And I have this tree, and Marcus runs across, and I take 2 shots at him, and then I probably shouldn't have done this, but he was down in the bunker, so I went to like shoot him up close, and he popped up and shot me. Oh. And I was out, but when he stood up, I had hit him twice when he went across. And I'm like, he's hit twice. I didn't fire. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter. So then Marty went and shot Marcus, so it was a 3-way tie. Oh. So we had to do it again. And then this time Marty shot me, and then I shot Marcus, and then Marty shot Marcus. So Marty got first. He got the gold wash. Wow. I got the silver tag, and we got a couple.
That's still
so it was pretty.
That's still an amazing watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I wish they do that again. Not that I win it, but it was pretty cool.
That is.
The All A's were good at that. We went to Toulouse, and France is, they love their pump. Tournament, pump guns. I mean, they're all big on that, and we're talking a bunch of crap too. And I think it was Chuck Hench, me, Billy, and Robo took the top 4 on their pump tournament, which they were not happy about.
Damn.
So
yeah.
So that was
that'd be so cool if we could get watches again for like, one of the events you get 5 watches or 10 watches for a team, and my goodness, you would imagine like some of these companies, if someone reached out to them and said, you will have your logos on the bunkers or something, and all you gotta do is
probably do it. Yeah,
totally.
I mean, they did it back in the day. I mean, it's kind of they go after the pro athlete type of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised.
That's really interesting. And the All-Americans, you guys were one of the first teams as a 10-man group to travel to Europe, if I'm not incorrect there. And you would travel with your bro, and also you were one of the first teams, the All-Americans, to ever bring European players to play for your organization as well early on.
Yeah, we went to Europe a lot, and England's just brutal. Oh my God, we didn't have a chance playing in England with English referees in the English woods. I'll just say that for years. I think Bob, the Ironman, won the one year. Before we won Mayhem. We finally did win one, but it was more airball. We'd get a lot of seconds in place, but they were not going to let us win over there. Let's just put it that way. There's just no chance.
It was really like that back then too. It really was. Yeah.
There's And it's a story. It's Tom Cole will tell you about this story, because I actually I heard about this, but it was what's Marcus, the Predators, I think, won Masters 5-man the one year. It was karma. This was again another example of Tom Cole was bad company, and we played him we had never won the Masters 5-man. We won Masters but 10-man 2 years in a row, but that was the one we really wanted to win. I think the one year I came up on Marty Bush and Bob Long, I missed him, and Marty shot me, and we lost. I was devastated.
Oh, damn.
And the next year, we go into the finals if I could just beat Bad Company. And I shoot Tommy Cole, and as he's running, he trips and his goggles fall off. And the referee comes over and she's like, stops him. And for whatever reason, she determined that since his goggles fell off, he was neutral and not out. So she cleaned his goggles off and then puts him back in, and he shoots me. And then they go on to the finals. And I was like, and Tom was laughing because he knew it was just totally wrong. But in the finals, they played the Predators. And right at the end, the Predators managed to somehow hang the flag on him. Well, it turns out years later, the head referee, who was also English, actually hung the flag on him.
Oh, damn.
And that's the type of stuff they actually, that's how the Predators won their first 5-man at the Masters. They probably won't like me sharing that, but the head ref told the story, and I won't say who he is, but Tom Cole heard about that, and he was so mad, and I just laughed because he was laughing at his shooting me with his goggles off. So,
oh man, that's crazy.
But you imagine the frustration of going over there. I mean, you spend a lot of time and money and effort to go over to Europe, and you just got schooled. Now that changed over time, and we won a lot of events over there. But Mayhem in the Woods was. Did you guys ever play Mayhem in the Woods? It was amazing.
I have not.
Enormous, like beautiful fields, but I mean the games are. Hey, Pepper.
We got a dog. There we go. Pepper.
The fields were huge. The games were long, and it was just a different experience. It was awesome, but we won events in Germany and Sweden and France and a bunch in England. But we did go over there a lot, and probably 5-6 times a year. We went to South America. We played in Brazil. We played in Venezuela. I've been to Australia. I played with Shock and those guys one time there, and so a lot of traveling. But we did also have there were a lot of good players in England, and Phil Ham and Graham was one of the earlier ones. Robo was on our team. So we had a lot of good players. From England. It's kind of funny because the All-Americans were a mix of not just All-Americans. But we also had some of the first women on our team early on too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Karen.
She was a baller.
Yeah, who'd you have?
What?
Who'd you have?
Karen and my brother's first wife. We won't go into that, but she was on our team as well.
Okay.
And so we had 2 women, and I think this is Pepper, by the way.
Hey, Pepper. This is one of the best parts of the show. We get to meet the dogs. There we go.
4 months old. But,
little pup.
It drove the Ironmen nuts when they're like these Southern California athletic guys, and they get beat by, a team with a couple women and, older guys and chubby guys. And they just scratch their heads at times. We didn't always beat them, but, I think they just couldn't figure out how it was possible at times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Karen was a baller. She could play.
Yeah, she was. She was a good player in the woods. She's sneaky and little and a good shot. So
absolutely.
I don't know who Karen is.
Karen Semmelsberger. She was married to Tui.
Okay.
Back in the day, and that's how we got to know them. We'd go play and practice every weekend, and they played with us or against us, and she came and worked at Smart Parts, as did Tui back in the day, and so but
it's legendary times.
We won. Yeah. They won championships with us. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
they just weren't on the team. They played well.
Mm-hmm. 10-man is so amazing. And actually, I want to dive into your story a little bit more, Adam, and kind of get the grassroots on your paintball experience and how this all unfolded for you and how you got into paintball and fell in love with this game. What was the turn of events that led you to being introduced to paintball?
Billy bought 2 Nail Spot 007s, 2 or 3 of them, and we were going to Florida for spring break. And we had some land down there, and we were just running around the woods shooting each other. And of course we ran out of paint,
Yeah.
and we called around and found a hobby store that, had paintballs, but he's like, don't come between these hours because we have a session going on. And we're like, well, what do you mean? Like, well, we have groups of people who come and play. We're like, oh my God, this is great. And, I think within 3 days we bought 2 or 3 different guns, but, we went and played that whole spring break and just loved it. And then we went back to college. That was like my freshman year of college. He was a senior. And we'd drive to Pinnacle Woods in Ohio and play up there. And that was about the time. I think the next year, Billy, when he was at Emory in Atlanta, he kind of wanted to emphasize that entrepreneurship. But we started a paintball field, great location, like 50 miles outside Atlanta in the jungle of their forest at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was above 75, it was too hot, and if it was below 70, it was too cold. So it's just a horrible business. But as a result, we just shot each other all day long in the deep woods of Georgia and got ticks everywhere.
Oh,
and
man.
But that was kind of how I spent my summers down there. And we ran paintball fields and worked on guns, and Jerry, that Wolf Slayer event was kind of the first big tournament. I don't know if you've ever been to Wolf Slayer or heard of it.
No, I've heard of it. I've never been there.
It was, just a fantasy land of paintball. The guy was in New York. I think he was a stockbroker or whatever, and had lots of money and bought this land outside of New York City. Jerry Braun didn't like him because he was competition, but he built these. They built cabins. They're still there today. There were 20 or 30 cabins, and you just go there, and all the people would stay in the cabins at the site. And he had all these fields. He had tunnels under. It was not safe.
Whoa!
But it was a lot of fun. I mean, he'd have tunnels where you could go down and come up in the other side, and buildings and castles, and he some of our early events there, we played I think it was a 15-man, and played the PMI Piranhas. I think it was a throw together group. It was Billy and I. It was our first tournament, and we had 15 people, half of which we didn't know, and we got second. And they gave us this big bag of cash, and
nice.
I think we won I don't know, it was like $10,000 or something, and we're handing it out. And we started playing the 7-mans, and that was the early days of the Baltimore Rats, which was the Malateskis.
Yeah.
Richie was too young, but it was Tommy and Greg, and we beat them every single time, to the point where they finally are like, if we can't beat them, we're going to join them. And, because we beat them in our second Masters too. And we just always beat those guys. They'll tell you that too. It's true. Tommy and Greg are awesome, and I like Richie and all that. But they finally came to the conclusion that we'd be better. We're both good teams. You have the edge, but if we joined each other together,
mm-hmm.
We could really do some damage. And that was when the Karens and some of the other older players kind of weren't able to compete anymore, and we joined with those guys, and the All A's really started to have some great victories. So,
what was the name of the very first paintball team that you guys started when you were younger?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it really became the All Americans. I'm trying to remember the Wolf Slayer one that we did. We maybe played one event, and I can't even remember the team that it was that we played on, but we started playing at Sergeant York's in near Harrisburg, and John Luby, that was his field, and kind of the team that some of the guys were on were called the All Americans. So it was Sergeant York's All Americans. I think it's a war. There was a war hero named Sergeant York, and his squad was the All Americans. And that's really where we started. Was the All Americans.
Wow.
So
that's some trivia right there for the listeners. That's where it started. Dang.
Lynn Barnett and Karen's. I think it was her cousin Bud Smart, and we had some good guys. But I mean, it wasn't like we did really well at Wolf Slayer, but when we started playing the Lively series and started playing teams like Constant Pursuit and some of the other big names, the Piranhas and those, I mean, we struggled for a while, and I think one year we finally made the top 8, I think Billy crawled through their line and got the flag, and he was really sneaky that way. Again, the games were long, and then the next year, I think it was 90. I gotta look at my truck here.
He's got the truck to take reference to there. That's so cool. They got the
It was
trailer.
91. We took the first Lively event. We took a fourth, and then the second one we took a third, and then in Chicago we got second, and then we went to the World Cup and won our first Masters. Which, those were brutal divisions because you had 16 teams make the semis, and you had to win your division of 4 to make the finals, and then you had to win your division of 4 to win it. And you know how hard that is to,
Sheesh.
4-team division to finish first, and you got to do it twice. And we did that actually in 91, and then we did again in 92. And 92 was a really good year. We won that, and we won the World Cup as well, and a bunch of tournaments in between. So
yeah, and all the while, you guys are still creating as well. You're coming up with ideas and innovating within the game as well.
yeah, it's just what, if you're competitive. I mean, my brother was, we always played sports. We were always competing at everything. I think I weighed my freshman year of high school, I was 87 pounds, and I wrestled varsity. I mean, my high school's, pretty prestigious school in a lot of ways. And I had 10 varsity letters, which was the most forever until probably the last 10 years. And, I was wrestling captain. I was a 4-year letter in that. I did soccer and track. That was probably my weakness. I pole vaulted. Billy was actually a better pole vaulter than I was. I was too light, but I weighed like 87 pounds. And, a lot of my friends, Billy and George Davison, he was with the All A's. I don't know if you remember George, but, he's one of the old school ballers, and Mark, and they'd come home from high school on the weekend. It was a boarding school, and they'd beat me up. And I felt like I was one of them, even though they were three years older, 3.5. And, I just, got ingrained that competitiveness, and Billy was the same way. And, you take it through paintball and, everything you do, you just want to, try to be the best you can. So.
Yeah. Adam, I want to ask you what paintball means to you, right? Because hearing your stories, it's like, before we started this show, I told you this is kind of the first time I've sat down and had a real conversation with you, or even met you formally. And it amazes me listening to these stories because they're just so parallel to every paintball player that has like fallen in love with the game.
Right.
It's like these experiences of going through, the team bonding and the events, the competitiveness. I had no idea. I mean, one, that's an amazing feat that you have in high school. So always an athlete, but like, what does the game of paintball mean to you?
You watch Ted Lasso?
You're the second person to ask me that in the last week. I haven't seen it.
Well, paintball is life.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's kind of the one guy on the team is paintball is life. And I think, for guys who do this, whether it be me or anyone else, I mean, if you're paintball takes a huge sacrifice. I mean, if for years, for 2 decades, I mean, you're looking at practicing every weekend, traveling all over the world. I mean, I was not in one of my best friend's wedding. I was going to be his best man, and I had to tell him no because we had the World Cup.
That's what I like to hear.
That's just, and I don't think I'd change that, because we won the World Cup. But it's just one of those things. I mean, that's your life. I mean, and I would say, 85% of my friends are paintball related, and I won't say every experience in paintball is a great one. I mean, we had some ups and downs. I mean, whether it be as a team or as a business or anything. I mean, things aren't always rosy, and there's nothing worse than losing, whether it be again whether the individual event, or you have a teammate leave, or your business fails, or somebody steals your product, or, and even like Tim, one of your best guys dies, and, this is just what we do. And, I don't think any of us would rather do anything else. I mean, um, I'm fortunate enough to have been able to work this and make it my full life. Other people have to have jobs to do this, which again makes it even harder. It's hard to find employers going to let you take off the amount of time you take off and
Yeah.
still want to pay you, so that's
Totally.
why a lot of guys end up working in the industry. But,
Yeah.
I don't know that everyone can. So,
Mhm.
for me, it's, obviously, you've got that and you've got family, but I was lucky enough to, my parents helped us and were at work every day. And, my brother's at work, and, uh, I'm able to bring my son here in the summers, and, my wife will come in occasionally and help out, and, whenever we need. And, my mother-in-law works here, and, it's kind of, not that I won't steal the tagline, but paintball is life. And, you know,
Yeah.
so
Man, so Adam, it sounds like you probably got some scholarships for other sports.
no, I really didn't. Again, I went to college. I wanted to play soccer. I twisted my ankle really bad, but we started playing paintball and we loved it. Um,
Yeah,
I
that's what I was getting.
I play a lot of sports. I
Mhm.
play. I may not be able to keep playing soccer because I overdid it. I played in a uh, D4 X ball tournament and like all day, and then went and played in a soccer game, and my knee was really stiff for like
Oh
3 weeks.
man.
But
Yeah.
I play over 40 competitive soccer now. I've
Oh,
played
nice.
baseball, just not. I never even played baseball in high school, but I just wanted to do it. I played in a basketball league at the Y with a couple of my friends, and we actually won a
Nice.
competitive league, which was shocking because I never played. I was a wrestler, you know what I mean? But it's just, you know, I just like playing different things. I mean, when we had smart parts, we'd play ultimate frisbee, we'd play tackle football, which was really stupid, but it was still fun. Spash Robinson he's an awesome quarterback, and
Shout out.
yeah, we beat guys. But even in college, we played. My brother and a couple of friends. We got the soccer captain was our quarterback, and we beat all the fraternities in a flag. It actually was tackle league there, and so
Yeah.
stuff like that. We like playing. I didn't play the sports. I don't know that I have the size or the speed or the strength to do things at a college level, but I could do paintball really well. And, um, when you get into college sports and scholarships and that type of stuff,
Oh yeah.
they're going to really look at, your time and your strength and your speed. And I wasn't into that. I was in paintball at that point.
Well,
So,
it
and I
did
don't know
really
if I
well
would.
for you.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
worked out great for me because it combines all the things strategically. I can see stuff. I played ice hockey league too with Hans, and for a number of years. So
Hell
you
yeah.
put all those little parts together, and if you love sport, you can kind of visualize
Hmm.
things. I think it was great for paintball. But um, I don't think I was ever strong. I had the mind for it, but I didn't have the size, strength, or speed. And I think you need all of those. So
Yeah, it sounds like too, again, you just kind of made the decision that you're going to go all in on paintball, which is funny because there's a lot of kids that we work with that have a lot of potential, but they are in other sports, whether it's wrestling or football or lacrosse, swimming, whatever it is. And as soon as they ask, like, how do I balance the two, or what should I do? Should I, not do this so I can pursue paintball more? In my mind, I'm like, you're not even in the right space yet. Because for me, it was, I also, I played football in high school. I was on the wrestling team, but as I started to get competitive with paintball, I was done with everything else. I
right,
didn't need to ask anybody, what I should do. I knew that all I wanted to do was play paintball and pursue paintball,
right,
like, and when like that infinitely. You just, and that's it, and you go for it.
Yeah, I think in a way, I mean, I was already 18 when I played paintball for the first time. So I was already out of high
Sure.
school. So it was, that would be harder for, high school sports are extremely competitive.
Mm-hmm.
You take your time, they're going to want your weekends, so it'd be hard to do both. And I think you would have to make that choice if you want to start. I mean, Tyler, you were what, 13?
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, you were out there probably every weekend,
Oh yeah.
every opportunity. So,
Yeah.
but not now. I think you see a lot more of that than you did back then.
Mm-hmm.
But, when paintball was starting, it was more of an adult's game,
Yeah.
not necessarily a teenager's game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, myself, Marcelo, Mouse, I mean, there's a handful of us, Kenny Rosenberg, we were like the first non-adults to step into the realm,
Yeah. And there were a few of you. Now there's,
Yeah.
there's a lot of kids that
Yeah,
are
there
pretty
is.
damn good,
Mhm.
you know?
Truly, yeah, it's inspiring to watch too, the way that paintball has developed, and especially the way it is right now, because it is highly competitive, more competitive than I think it might have ever been in the past. With the younger gen is really scratching and clawing to make that leap into the pro sectors and take their skills to the next level, and it's really inspiring to see that these days.
Yeah. Now you got super little midgets out there, that are, can aim and shoot and run and shoot and working on the skills. So it'll be exciting to see where they are, how many of them, are playing in the pro division or whatever format's being done in 10, 15 years from now. So,
Absolutely. And you started with the rifled barrel. I kind of want to dive into like that beginning and how that came to be that you guys went with the barrel, and then also coupled with you were working with your mom and dad too in the beginning, because your mom was an excellent inventor who could give you insights, and then your dad helped you on the back end of making sure that you guys were protected and owned everything as well.
yeah, really the barrel again, that was I think all Billy. I think really with that first boss gun
Hmm.
again, this one, making all the parts by hand and assembling them all.
Yeah.
Um, he realized that was a lot of work. Not
Hmm.
that he liked doing that, but he was still trying to improve that accuracy. So he started drilling the barrel and you know uh, just built it. Our old factory was only like 5,500 square feet, and we had this can at the end of the building, and he would sit there and just shoot it, all day. He had, is he just shot all day long, trying, experimenting, and that drilling of the barrel made a huge difference. That we felt at the day, for accuracy. There weren't aftermarket barrels. It was pretty much what came on the gun, and or there were some, but they were, I think Bud Orr maybe made some aftermarket barrels, but they weren't ported. Um, so that was something that we felt uh, made a difference, gave us a better shot and better accuracy. And again, when we started playing them, people saw them at the events. We ran some ads, and the phone started ringing, and then we were making a lot of barrels. So, my parents were kind of retired at the time. They when they sold their company, they were probably around my age now, I think in their 50s or so, and
Hmm.
and they're kind of bored, and they wanted to help Billy get started at first, and then I joined them a year and a half later or so. My mom helped do a lot of the payables and bills, and my dad would help, obviously with patent stuff when it got to that, but
Yeah.
he'd answer the phone and take calls and do stupid deals that were way better than he probably should have, but he liked talking to people. Everyone loved my dad. He was great. And, so that's kind of how it started. And, we built it from, I think he might've sold like $60,000 the first year,
Hmm.
and build it from there. So,
Wow.
eventually I think we hit like 35 million at Smart Parts in one year, which
Yeah.
is crazy. you know.
I mean, it's
So
one of the biggest paintball companies that there's ever been, hands down.
yeah, I mean, they're definitely bigger. I mean, the paint companies were definitely bigger in volume, but it
Yeah.
was, and we brought out the Ion, which was like the, kind of a game changer because there were high end guns. There was a big gap in the industry. There was high end guns that, cost $1,000, and there were low end guns that nobody could really compete with against the high end guns. And
Mm-hmm.
the Ion was that sweet spot for $300 electronic, and I think we sold 100,000 of them in a year, which is
Jeez.
Really quick, actually, that leads perfectly into, we have an iconic question from our boy Quinn Nadu. This is like perfect for that. His question is, the Ion revolutionized the paintball industry as the first true affordable marker with tournament level performance. At the peak of Smart Parts, you were manufacturing and selling more than 20,000 Ions a month. Not sure if that's an accurate number. Not sure how we got that information, but what was it like knowing that your creation was getting so many new players into the sport of paintball?
that was it was I actually I have a question for Quinn as well at some point here, because I
Okay.
think he left me off his top 50 of all time. and
Dude, he left Dalton off too. Dalton was pissed about it yesterday. We were talking.
and I'm pretty sure his criteria was longevity, world championships, importance on your roster, contribution to the sport. And I can understand, if you're going just on one thing or the other, but when you combine all those together, I just don't
Yeah.
get it, but
We're
but
looking at them right here.
yeah, exactly. So I don't hold a grudge much, but yeah, no, it was really, it's, the Ion was an awesome success, and it was great to see that. But at the same time, it was also right around the time where, a couple years later, I mean, Smart Parts was gone.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
with success like that comes a whole bunch of pressure to
Mm.
go to make it and to fill the demand. I mean, it was insane. I mean, we'd build like 2,000. I had dealers begging me to send their employees to Latrobe, fly them here to sit there in my factory and assemble Ions,
Jeez.
pay me full price, and send them back. I mean, think about that
Yeah.
craziness. Imagine, dealers from all over the country sending their whole staff there to build guns and pay full boat for it. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
And but to build up to those types of numbers, you have to invest in a lot of plant and machinery and people, and there's cash flow issue. There's a whole business side of it that creates, complications. And the timing, we invested a lot in American made. And I mean, this building here was, for those who've been here, I mean, we had 100 plus machine tools, high end Swiss and Mazaks, and one of the first hydromats ever, outside the automotive industry. It was like $4.5 million, and we invested tremendously to continue this process. And then paintball took a little bit of a nosedive, and sales went down in 2008, 9.
Yeah, the
And
economy. Yeah.
and then there was the TARP bank bailout, and that's a whole different story. But I mean, it pretty much well, I'll go into the story a little bit, but we had to do that type of stuff. You have to get loans to buy the machinery, and we bought the All American Paintball part and built that facility. And our bank, we never missed a payment. We're never out of covenant, but you don't count on something like a TARP bailout. I don't know if you guys know what that was. Do you guys know 2009? I mean, there were a bunch of the mortgages, and there was worried that the banks might fail. So the government stepped in to help the banks.
Yeah.
And if government, this is an example of government making horrible decisions and politicians making horrible decisions, but they gave the bank the power to decide who they kept and who they didn't want to keep. And the idea, the thought was, we'll help you bail out of your troubled loans, make your books healthy, and it'll work out for everybody. But that gave the bank the power to decide, and they decided, it wasn't just Smart Parts. They did it to probably thousands of companies, and all the banks did it,
Yeah.
where they said, we don't want to be in the paintball. We don't want to finance paintball companies. So they gave us 30 days notice, and our
Oh my
our
God.
loans come up for renewal, and they're like, you got to pay us 13 million bucks in 30 days, right? How is that's not possible? We'll just
Hmm.
go refinance with another bank. Well, all the banks were doing this, and
Hmm.
they say, you don't take ours out, we won't take yours out. So they, pretty much put us into a bankruptcy. Um, and the stupid thing about it is, if the government had gone to the businesses and all the manufacturers and there are thousands of them, and said, we'll give the money to the business with the stipulation that you pay off your bank debt, the money would be exactly where it was, which is in the banks, with the bank. But then you'd have all these companies that were healthy because they got rid of all their debt, and you'd have all these American jobs. We lost 250 manufacturing jobs
Hmm.
for really no reason, because of the way the government did that. And you didn't think, when you borrow this money, well, as long as we're making payments, they won't do that to us. But you know
That
bankers
was
are not,
crazy.
and they didn't have us personally, and we started over, and that was really hard. But you learn these lessons. I mean, you have your business for 20 years, you build it up, you reach these amazing goals, and then boom, you're right back to zero. And that's what we did in 2009, 2010. And that's how Philly kind of became Heat. And
Hmm.
we started over, and we built it back up. And I probably wouldn't do it differently. I definitely would do certain things differently, but it's just part of experience and part of life, and that's one of the ups and downs. And you know we've
Yeah.
all gone through it one way or the other. you know uh,
Hmm. Yeah.
so
You thrived in the tough times, and you made decisions, you made moves that you knew were going to position you well for the future, and that was a crazy transition period. And to be sitting where DLX is at this moment through all of that is really a huge badge of honor on what you guys have been able to accomplish.
we're proud of it. I mean, and again, a lot of it comes down to our people as well. I mean, we had some really great guys and people who stuck with us even though we were starting over, and
Hmm.
really with very little. And you know some of those guys a lot of them are still here. They were there in Smart Parts early on, and they went down with us, and some of
Yeah.
them got other jobs, and as soon as we could bring them back, they came back, and helped build it back up. And I think you're only as strong as the people you have with you, and we have a great team here that's helped us do this. It's not just me or my brother doing it.
Yeah.
It's the whole team. And that's I think what again makes some of who we are, because we care and we love what we do, and we surround ourselves with people that are like-minded and want to make stuff as well as they can, and want to compete and win, and
Yeah.
have fun with the business side, and at the same time we're friends on the other side. So
How do you feel about not just Lux, but paintball guns in general with their technology and the current state of the technology? Kind of like 10 years ago, people were saying, this is about as far as a paintball gun can go. How much improvement do you think that there is still to be had on these paintball guns?
I mean, there's still improvement. We constantly strive. It's hard to do this, and that's why there aren't a lot of companies left doing it. I mean, in reality, it's not easy to make a paintball gun, and especially with all the other, you add in supply chain issues and labor
Yeah.
issues in manufacturing, and just there is a fairly high barrier to entry to try to you know, do all this. You have to think of things like technical support and service. I mean, you can make a gun and sell it, but if you're not at the event to fix it when little Jimmy's O-ring blows or a bolt breaks or something happens, they're going to be like, you guys suck.
Mm-hmm.
It's so there. I mean, it's so much more than just having a gun that shoots a ball out the end of the barrel. I mean, it's got to perform, and you got to be there to support it and go to the events and have people shoot it, and have a dealer base who can sell it too. I mean, we're not, certainly internet's a big deal, but the best salesperson is the guy who walks in and wants to play paintball, and the guy behind the counter saying, well, what do you recommend? And when his gun breaks, he wants to take it back to him. So you want to have, dealers who support your product and know how to play with it, and players who are at the local field. If, somebody's gun down, maybe they can walk over and, hey, can you get my gun going? And all that type of stuff. So that, it's a lot more to it than just, making it and selling it, and then you don't see it anymore. That isn't, that's half the battle,
of course,
at best. And, but I think there's always room for improvement in technology. I mean, people keep coming up with great ideas. I mean, the mech, if you think of it, it's kind of gone in reverse in a way. I mean, certainly the electronic had its positives and negatives. I mean, as much as I think electronics was great for the game in a way, and airball was great for the game, you combine X-ball, airball, and electronic guns, and it almost killed paintball in a way, because everyone embraced it so much that we lost, a whole generation of young kids and all the old guys who had the money to spend, and now we've gotten smarter, and people like Tim brought back, made it fun for everybody. And there's a whole, you can play paintball 10 different ways and probably have fun at 9 of them anyway. And, so now it's swinging back where we want the guns to both work electronic, but we also want to be able to go play this mech tournament the next day. And I mean, God, if I had my Shocker amp or my Lux mech back when I was playing Daryl in the Ironman back in 91, we would have shot the crap out of them. It wouldn't even have been a chance, but if you think of, how amazing these guns are. I mean, they'll shoot, you can shoot those guns nonstop, at high rates of fire without breaking a ball. And that was not the case, several years ago, even. So, I mean, there will, I believe, whatever you start thinking you've done as good as you can do, it's probably, your company's probably on the edge of dying. You gotta keep innovating. Same with the team. If you guys, you win 2 cups and everyone gets happy and complacent and thinks, I don't need to practice because we're the best team in the world. Nobody can touch us. You'll start to get lazy and do the things that you shouldn't be doing and not practicing and not walking. And then all of a sudden you lose, and then people get mad, or some people quit, and other teams, steal a player. And now you're like, you got to start all over. It's the same thing with anything in life. And it's just the way it is. And, so as long as you're hungry enough and want to keep working at it. And again, it's not easy, but you'll do fine. And there's good paintball guns out there. Other people make good guns. We want to just try to make them better. So
there's always somebody that wants to take it from you. If you've got it, if you hold that spot, there's always somebody that wants to take it from you. And so, typically the people that want to take it from you are willing to work a little bit harder because they haven't quite tasted it yet. So to what you're saying, you're right. Like when you're in that position, it's so important to keep innovating, keep working, keep motivated, all those things. It's crucial in whatever it is you do in life,
Anything. It could be, it could be anything you do. It doesn't matter when you get complacent and quit doing the things that got you there, someone's going to flick you to the side, and you're going to have to, find a way to, start over and get hungry, or, go home and take your ball with you.
That's hilarious. Of all the inventions and patents that you guys have come up with, what is one of your favorite ones? What's one of the cream of the crop that you're really super proud of?
I mean, really, I think I'd say the electronic gun, just because of its impact. that the chain, I mean, the barrel, the freak barrel, again, that's
Yeah.
the freak barrel is again, all my brother. But I mean, that's had a huge impact as well. I mean, that we're still selling those, and it's like 20 years later or something. I mean, it's just crazy success with that. But I would say the electronic gun is one that just changed. It's very rare you can see a point in time where the whole world changes. And I remember being in Chicago, like, even with like the turbo and stuff like that, and you just see people like their minds blown of
Like, whoa.
Holy cow. And that you think of a very short period of time of going from an industry dominated by two guns and two styles, and within a couple of years they're just gone. And now there's a WDP, and there's us, and then there's Planet comes into the picture, and then there's a whole bunch of them, and and it just it just changes everything. And I mean, X Ball in a way kind of did that. It was first air ball. Actually, that was another one of the things we did first, was kind of I won't say speedball because we didn't do that, but with the Pittsburgh event, the tournaments were getting bigger, and we created the first kind of concept field, was the Mounds field.
No way.
We were looking, and we're like, we don't have enough woods. We have so many teams. How can we do this? And again, this is another one of Billy's nutty ideas. And he draws out this stuff, and Franco de Blasio gets his bulldozer and starts pushing dirt around. And now we have a Mounds field. And then, WDP followed that up with Hyperball. They created Hyperball, which was another form of concept field. And then JJ did, Soup Air, which airball. So these are the types of things that change stuff. And, paintball went from all woods to all airball, in a pretty short period of time.
Quick.
And I'm not saying that was the best thing. And then it went to X Ball, which changed things again. And now you got a mix of all of it. So,
From what I hear, you even had a 10-man airball field in the backyard of
my
that
mom's house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had Ryan Moorhead. He was like your age. He started playing with us, and we'd set it up. That was back when the fans were like in every bunk, or you had these fans in the corner.
That's right.
Yeah,
all those
we're all attached.
It was awful because the fan would go down and like practice is over. It's you got extension cords running a couple 100 yards. But yeah, we would set up our airball field in my mom's yard, and teams, there'd be 3-4 teams there, and we just beat each other up all weekend, and shoot a gazillion rounds of paint. That was fun. So
that's so
I
awesome.
saw people come up. I remember playing in your parents' backyard. And I'm like, it's kind of neat.
That's awesome. And also one of the really big things that you and your brother brought to the paintball landscape for the markers is the Q-lock. And that's something that's used on virtually just about every single paintball marker out there, is that mechanism that holds the loader on top of the gun there.
There was a guy in Florida, I think, did a twister one first. And we did a lot with him. And I think we may have, bought his inventory up or did something, but then redesigned it to the Q-lock, which was pretty good. But that would, every gun has one now. So that was, that was it. I think actually one of the first things we did with New Ventures was the regulator. We still have some of those here, but that was early. The first product we did with New Ventures was a better regulator, compressed air regulator.
Interesting.
So,
and what did you guys develop on that and that particular item? What were you guys working on in the early years there?
Well, that was New Ventures came to us, and with the idea of we used to have Rod Perry. I don't know if you remember Rod, but he was an engineer, and he kind of worked with them to develop the first max flow system, as we called it. So that was a big innovation. We didn't want to share with them the electronic paintball gun idea until we could see what they did on the regulator. And
Yeah.
they did a real good job with that. So then we got them involved on the gun, which didn't fully work out, but
Yeah.
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 So that's one of the downsides. They were they came from aerospace and they're used to government budgets and money. And that's, I guess, two lessons is one, don't make 1,000 of something before you have one that works right.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you spend all your money and you're kind of screwed. And that was kind of what happened to Ventures. They let the cart get before the horse, and it led to bad things. And the other is, don't share your idea before you're ready to really run with it. And
Yeah.
that's kind of back to the WDP scenario. We had this awesome idea, and if we had just shut up and gotten it fully ready and went to market, WDP probably would have launched their mechanical version of the gun, and it would have been the Angel. And then we really could have, dominated it without competition for a while. But instead, we opened our mouths and let someone run away with our idea and almost beat us with it. So
What was this? And Adam, don't feel any pressure to answer. But I remember, I think it was like 2004, 5 something. There was a big like class action lawsuit that Smart Parts filed against some of the other companies. Was it in reference to that?
Yeah, it wasn't really a class action lawsuit. I mean, we originally tried to license stuff. I mean, it's funny because we got persecuted for, trying to defend our own product, which we invented.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, that was some of WDP's ability to, get viral social media, even though it wasn't necessarily internet at the time, but really get, they made us the bad guys in a lot of ways. But there were a bunch of lawsuits, some of which, WDP sued us as well. Dye sued us. There were some companies that did licensing early on. Planet was one of the first to they just said, we won't want any part of it. We'll do a license. And I think Gino, did a license at the time, but some others fought.
What was the technology? If you don't mind me asking.
Electronic gun.
Okay.
And and again, part of the issue is WDP was so successful with the Angel, they built up a huge amount of money to fight us. And,
Sure.
And again, they were not quitters. And I think at the end of the day, we all probably would have been better off resolving it a different way. I mean, eventually it put them out of business, and it certainly didn't help Smart Parts. We went
Totally,
between that and spending all our money on, getting it on TV and having the majority of the industry not provide a penny for that. We can talk about that next, but
definitely want to dive into that.
And Dye, at first they did a license, but when they saw we were weakened down by WDP, they jumped in and, threw another BS lawsuit on top of it. Basically said, yeah, we signed our license deal, but we're not doing that anymore. And then turned around and sued us back. So I think at one point we had 5 or 6 federal cases going on, which adds up to a whole bunch of money really fast. And
so Adam, so all the companies making electronic guns now have to license that technology from you guys?
No, all those patents have run out.
Okay. So. But still, I mean, I didn't know that. And look, if you invent something, if you're the creator, that's yours, and that's how things work. So I understand that,
That's one of the difficulties with patents and our courts and how things work. And unfortunately, yes, I agree with you, but sometimes the only one who wins out of that are the lawyers. And
sure, yeah,
if the two sides, I mean, WP hated us and we hated them. That's just the way of the world. And there was not even though we met several times to try to resolve it, it was never going to get resolved that
Mm.
way. And, again, I think if you gave us the chance to go back, we'd probably resolve it in about 15 minutes now.
Totally.
Yeah.
But, that wasn't, how it was
Mhm.
going to go. But, there were lots of, people say we sued Airgun Designs. We never sued Airgun Designs. There were people who were heading into our market. We sent them letters, and some of them just quit, and some of them licensed, and others fought. But
Mhm.
that's the business side of it, and you want to protect your stuff, but you got to be big enough to defend it. And we
Sure.
were at the time, but I'm not sure that it did us any good. So
Sometimes that stuff isn't good for anyone involved,
yeah,
it's better to work together. But yeah, absolutely want to dive into the ESPN Smart Parts World Championship too, because that was such an amazing thing you guys did for paintball. So I'm very curious. It's actually from our Discord. One of our GOAT members, Welshie, was wondering the same thing. Whose idea was it for the ESPN Smart Parts World Championship, and how did that come to be? Were you part of those conversations?
yeah. Actually, remember that started with the whole NXL goal of trying to get it on television,
Yeah.
and that was first done with Dick Clark, I think, with 2004.
Hmm.
He got us on ESPN. Filmed the finals game. I think it was us and What's Strange. But I actually walked into Dick Clark's office and pitched him on that.
No way.
No way.
Yeah. So I went with Bo Carson. Billy was supposed to be there, but I think he had a little bit too much the night before. So he was not up that day that we drove by, and I just walked in.
Billy, your brother?
Yeah, he was there with us.
Okay.
I mean, he was heavily involved in it. But that actual day, I walked into Dick Clark's, and he sat down with me, and I pitched him on the idea, and he said, "Let's do it." So,
That's fair.
that was pretty cool. And I think let me just say that the camera work that they can do now at an NXL event with the technology that's changed since in that is amazing.
Yeah.
It was a lot harder back then and a lot more
Hmm.
expensive in a
Hmm.
way. Not in a way, it was. I mean, you're talking about production crews and super high end, all that type of stuff, and you got to do it. Edit it for 6 months to get it. It's pretty. You can watch that game now, and I think the quality live is better than what was done back then.
They
But
are doing a tremendous job with the production that we have going on. I still geek out on it. I'm like, I can't believe I can watch paintball from my phone. Like that. I
yeah,
never. Yeah.
I'll sit there and watch Philly if I'm not, or Houston Heat or
Yeah.
all our teams, and just from your couch, it's pretty cool.
It's
So,
Hmm.
amazing.
but you know, we did that, and then the idea was it was fairly successful. We wanted to do another one, and Dick Clark had a stroke, and that kind of what put it takes a long time to get these things in progress. And so the idea is we still do it again with the 2 years later with that Mohegan Sun one. But
Mhm.
that was supposed to be a lot of industry support, but that was also right in the middle of these lawsuits. So you know we had to make a determination at that point in time. You know do we go ahead and do this, or and the thought was we would have industry support, we'd have other companies buying ad time to help pay for this. But at the last kind of moment, when the deal's ready, they all basically said, screw you guys, you know and we could either walk away from what seemed like a decade of goal of trying to get television and paintball going, or we foot the bill for it. And I think GI was Richmond paid for an ad, but I think he's one of the only ones who did. So we spent a couple $1,000,000 on that, and pretty much had our competitors fight us.
Mhm.
They didn't want to see it successful, because if it was successful, then it was Smart Parts, and they would rather see it fail than see Smart Parts have success.
Mhm.
Which is a damn shame.
It is a shame. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so really we helped the Genos and the Tipmans of the world, because the people watching it were, the young kids are the one to get involved. They aren't going to go out and buy $1,000 gun brand out of the box. It's really helping grow. There are kids playing today, I think, in the NXL that saw that event and said, that's what I want to do. So it's had its impact. There's still players that, that's was their beginning exposure to paintball. And they said, that's awesome. But it was kind of that whole timing of lawsuits, Hollywood, decline in industry, and then TARP. And, so, that was kind of part of the piling on of the end of Smart Parts. But, it was still pretty cool. I went to New York City with Jerry Braun for, I think, 8 weeks straight, and edited every single one of those games. And, you sit there and you see someone shoot, and you got to look through all the different cameras to find, did they hit the guy, and then switch over that to show him walking to try to show the story, which was hard to do, back then. But I sat there in New York City and walked by I think it was I don't know, one of the main buildings there every day. And, we edited those and put it together, and it was pretty cool. I mean, was it perfect? No, but for the time it was, I thought, a pretty good job. And, and then NPPL started doing some filming of stuff, and it kind of went away. And, but, what they're doing now is awesome. And I think that opens the door for the potential to make paintball appealing to an audience, because, you can watch it. It's pretty entertaining. The Maddie Marshall and the announcers are really good. They have replays and slow motion stuff. I mean, we couldn't do that crap, and certainly didn't do it live, know? So.
No, what you guys did at that time was tremendous, and iconic. It absolutely had an impact. I mean, whenever you have paintball on ESPN, it's going to have a big impact, period.
Yeah. I remember that stupid Mohegan Sun. Thank God their seats were orange, because we'd film shooting for the day, and I'd spend like 2 hours walking through 10,000 seats and trying to pick up all the broken paintballs that bounced off the bunkers and covered their, beautiful indoor arena.
Yeah. So, what was it like seeing paintball in that arena, during that time? It must have just been like, man, we're heading somewhere. We're doing good.
It sucked because I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And my brother's doing the announcing, and I'm like cleanup guy. It was terrible. But no, it was awesome. It was fun. It was cool. I think Philly got spooked. It was, I don't know. Was it? Yeah, it was. Yeah, we had a horrible event, but it was really neat to see. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun to get the bill, but it was really fun to see.
Yeah. I mean, geez, for sure.
Adam, what do you think we need to do to get paintball, if we even need it, back on ESPN or anything like that? I think we can do really powerful stuff with the webcast, but since you did play such a big role in that, I absolutely believe it made a huge splash. There's so many people that I talk to about paintball that don't play. If I'm traveling somewhere and we get in discussions of why I'm going to, Italy or whatever it is, and I tell them paintball, I say, oh, I saw it on ESPN back in, 2004 or 5, right? So it definitely has made its splash. But what do you think we as an industry can do to get our sport, in those networks?
I don't know that the networks are necessarily the answer. I mean, maybe they are, but I don't know that kids these days are watching networks. I think they're watching, playing Xbox and doing a lot of other type of gaming. I mean, but they all do have iPhones and Apple TV, and there's a whole bunch of, that whole industry's changing too. So, there's probably an opportunity out there for someone who's visionary enough to go and has the money to recognize. I mean, some of the sports they put on there, I think paintball is way more exciting, and now you can show it and explain it. And I think, people can see what's going on better than they ever could before. So I think the opportunity is probably there. And you don't need the giant budgets that were needed, 20 years ago, and all the production and all that. I mean, we don't have that with the NXL now. I mean, they couldn't afford to spend the type of money we did for, just for a couple shows. I mean, they're doing a
Right.
live whole weekend, regardless of weather. And, so I think probably the opportunity's there. It's just finding the right group and the right people to put that together. And, uh, I'm going to let that for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
No, you're right. The paradigm has shifted on the major networks, and you're absolutely right. It's a lot of it's shifted just towards the internet, and there's so many different ways that you can, get
There's
your
so much streaming with Netflix and Apple
yeah.
TV and
Mm-hmm.
all these platforms that are
Mhm.
fighting for content and wanting to create it. And there's pretty awesome content. I mean, there's
Yeah.
amazing games out there. I'd love to see the full replay of that Heat, thing at the World Cup this year, because I watched it live and I thought for sure you had the point, and then we played in the 7-man mounds, and we came off. Like, why didn't the score update it?
Mhm.
What happened in overtime? And then we're like, that
Mhm.
sucks. So
Yeah, I know. I
but
lived
that's the
it.
type of drama you want to see. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
that's good television. I don't care what you're watching. That's pretty cool. It's whether it be a football game or even as boring as baseball can be. If it's like a ninth inning comeback with a play at the plate, I mean that's awesome. And paintball has those moments, point to point. Yeah, some stuff might be boring, but there's some awesome action happening, and they
Oh
can
yeah.
capture it.
Yeah.
And controversial penalties and all that stuff, and in the pits, everything's there to make it,
Mhm.
to do it. It's just got to be,
Yep.
the right group with the money and the vision and the connections to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, the magic of paintball is there. There's so much excitement that goes on, and we saw it all weekend long at World Cup. There's just really exciting situations that the game puts teams and opponents in, and it is right there. And I think that we're doing a great job of capturing that, and getting the stories out there and building like these superheroes like we talk about, and
Mm-hmm.
really giving paintball that light that it deserves. Because I mean, we've talked about it on the show before, but it just still doesn't have the respect that I feel it truly deserves, because it's such a difficult game, and a lot of people around the world just think it's still something that people do out in the woods, or
Mm-hmm.
we just still haven't gotten the tournament aspect of it to the masses, to where they know that it's even out there yet.
Yeah, I mean, again, the product is really good right now. I think it's a much easier sale than it was back then,
Yeah.
and again, it's probably not an ESPN, and I don't think it should be. It's not going to be live on NBC,
Yeah.
but the audience we're probably reaching doesn't watch those shows anyway. You
Hmm.
know, you want the
Yeah.
younger generations and the guys who or played and think it's cool, but
Hmm.
I think that's your market, and those are probably a harder market for advertisers to reach anyway. So if they have an appeal and they want to watch paintball, then
Yeah.
there should be a lot of money there to make it happen, because they can reach these kids that they can't reach any other way.
Yeah, and the internet is alive with paintball. There's definitely a buzz around it. We've seen with certain individuals who are creating content that we're able to get a lot of people's eyeballs on paintball, because it is a really interesting thing when you see it at the highest level being played, and these all stars are running around playing this game the way it's supposed to be played. It's pretty damn entertaining.
Get me about 10 million subscribers on Lyratext, and then I can go do that.
All
You
right,
know,
let's
have you
go.
downloaded Lyratext yet?
No.
Mm-mm. What
Oh,
is that?
actually, I've heard about this. Please tell us more.
Yeah, it's go to the App Store and type in Lyratext. It's like Giphy but with music.
Yeah.
So you can pretty much say what you want to say via text message, but it's through licensed music from your real song. So
Yeah.
you pretty much say whatever you want to say, but you send them a song clip from, if you want to. Your buddy's arguing, you can send, I know that you are
Yeah.
wrong, and just that segment, or like Simple Plan's just shut up, shut up, shut up, don't want to hear it, those type of things. So, I've been working on that for like 6 years, and it's finally in the App Store, but it's pretty cool. So you can
And
check it out.
please, if you could spell it out exactly what they're gonna search, that way they can find it, that'd be awesome.
Lyritxt. I actually did
Awesome.
that with my daughter. We came up with the idea driving back from school. Her friend. I don't know if you like music, but
Oh
it
yeah.
was Men at Work was the song "Stay Away, Don't You Invade My Home." Her friend texted her. We had like an hour and a half drive. She says, "Let me know when you're home," and she's like, "Oh God." And that song was on. I'm like, "Well, you could just text her that." And she's like, "That'd be really cool." I'm like, "Well, maybe we could do that." And it was way
That's
harder.
rad.
Music licensing is so much harder than getting paintball on TV, but I finally got it, and it's pretty cool. So I just need 1 million subscribers.
Well,
My
let's
nephew
go.
is the bass player in a pretty popular band called The Neighborhood, and I can't even get one of their songs to use on social media without going to. I'm like, dude, I can't use this. You made this, He's like, man, if you understood all the paperwork that has to be done to do this, to do that. I'm like, Jesus, never. I'll find another song, man. So we're good.
Not to sidetrack from paintball too much, but that's really what how this came about. There's another company called Songclip who's doing making music licensing affordable for smaller companies. And you see these workout videos, and they have crappy generic music, and
Right.
if you're not Peloton or someone like that, you just can't get music licensing, and that's one of the things that's changing. Just as music has evolved over time, they used to have tapes and then CDs and 8 tracks, and now it's all nobody even buys records anymore. It's all streaming and stuff like that. So I mean, paintball goes through the same. Every industry has to adapt, and that's one of the things that is starting to happen. And they're making licensing available to smaller companies like mine for Lyritech. So maybe your nephew's stuff will be available at some point, but it's
Interesting.
one
Cool.
of those things. So
Yeah, it's like it's a GIF, but it's the music version, so you can send those out.
Right.
That's really
yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty cool. I won't bore you, but I'll play like
Oh, we love it.
I'm gonna start using it.
Yeah.
yeah.
You got a new subscriber.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice. So like this would you could send this to everybody before your match. So
There we go.
you just search in there what you want to say, and it brings up a short song clip
Yeah.
of pretty much anything. I
That's
weeded
genius.
out all the really bad stuff, but
Yeah.
Speaking of sending something before a match, what has been your favorite match to watch, either the Philly Americans or Houston Heat, because they're kind of the same thing,
Yeah.
play with you, not as a player, right? So taking a step back as someone that oversees the team, the organization, what's been your favorite win of theirs?
All the wins are good. It's one of those things. You remember the losses more than the wins, as terrible as that sounds. I mean, I remember it was 2000. It was right as Smart Parts was going down, so it was 9 or 10, and that was best of 3 for the NXL, and we're playing the Ironman.
2008. I was on that team.
Yeah, so we smoked you in the first game, or anyway, as I remember, it may not have been smoked. But the second game, it was tied, and I think it was Billy. It might have been Billy Wing or Benini, one or the other, was in the penalty box in the overtime point, and all we had to do was not let him out of the box. And I'm sitting there sideline coaching, and I'm telling Gant McClellan, I'm like, he's coming out in 3, 2, and he just made this amazing move and lined up a bunker and came down, shot Gant, shot everybody, and you guys won the point, and then you just killed us in the next one. And I was just like, even though I wasn't playing, that was just such a devastating loss, given that was like almost the end of Philly and the end of Smart Parts, and we were like,
you guys had just got Fedorov too that year.
Yeah, and it was just so I remember that. I definitely remember that one.
Mm.
Certainly watching he win the cups, those are awesome. There's some exciting and just close games.
Yeah.
One way or the other. I think they lost. Didn't they lose the Dynasty by a second or something in one of them right
Yeah.
at the end?
Yep.
Yeah.
A half a step.
Yeah. And then this year, again, just
a half a step in that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not even a half a step. Fedorov was there on the buzzer.
So, they're all exciting and good, and it's fun it's awesome to win it. It really sucks when you lose it, but
that's why you're a champion there, Adam. That's why, because that's the feeling that real athletes understand. Like winning is like, okay, thank you. It's a little bit of a relief. Losing is personal. It hurts.
It's just hard.
Yeah.
I remember. Two of the cups we lost. Stupid Todd Adamson made a great move on me with Shock the one year. If it weren't for Todd and his ridiculousness at the end of games, he just knows how to win at times. And, I think he probably gave them 2 World Cup championships just with single games. Him and Manny, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Manny spinning on me one year. I remember that one too. But it's all good. So
yeah, the days and the years keep rolling on, and we keep playing this amazing game and having fun with paintball. That's the truest.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Adam, we have a couple questions from our Discord. Again, I did already, let some of them out, but we're going to dive back into some of these. So, from Shadow, it seems like manufacturers are running out of new ideas. Do you have a vision of what the guns would be like going forward into the future?
Obviously I can't see a crystal ball. I know that some of the stuff we're working on is pretty exciting.
Is there anything you can share?
Absolutely not. I learned that lesson.
I was going to say, after the conversation we had, we're not getting anything from this question.
Yeah. I still think there are areas of improvement, in our sport and in equipment, and certainly guns is one of them. Certainly I would say guns are as good as they've ever been, but that doesn't mean there's not room for improvement in them. I think there's some opportunities probably in loaders. There's been a lot of IP around those as well. So a lot of people have been, scared off to jump into that section of things, and probably, making better regulators and more consistent stuff. But, there's certainly opportunities there. Paint is still extremely important. And I think there's probably room. I'm not a paint manufacturer. I don't think I ever want to be. That's a high volume, lots of risk, not a lot of profit until you get rid of everybody else's business. But, without a good paintball kind of isn't that fun. So I think that's why I said I think it's extremely important for healthy competition among paint manufacturers to keep each other honest and strive to win, and push teams to have an edge. So I don't necessarily like the idea of taking that part of it away. But I don't have all those answers. I wish I did. But
Gotcha.
we'll keep trying to keep making stuff better, and go from there. That's kind of what we do.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Innovate. Yeah. Did it hurt, kind of to couple with the question here? He's wondering, is there any new Lux developments that we can, be excited about in the future? Obviously, I know you guys are always working hard at that. Maybe a different look or something of that nature as we move forward.
Yeah.
Or a woods ball gun he has in there.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we do have the Lux mech kit out. We still have a lot of people waiting on them, and we're getting our production up on that. But that's kind of one of the big steps for the Lux is for people who want to go play airball one weekend and go play mech or woods ball, or 10 men the next and do it quickly and easily. Nobody wants to take an hour to take their gun apart. You can switch this thing over in like 2 minutes. I mean, it's really pretty cool.
It is. It's amazing. Yeah.
So I mean, that sounds easy to do, but it is not easy to do. To make the gun work for both, like flawlessly and be comfortably, and same look and feel, and whether you're at mech or electronic, to shoot at super high rates of fire without breaking paint, and that's not an easy thing to do. But
No.
We do think we have some improvements for the Lux, and usually some of those things take time. One of the things from a branding perspective, people do ask about, should we change the look of the Lux and stuff, and we kind of do the private labels with that. So if they want a more aggressive cut, I mean, you look at the Adrenaline out there, I mean, it's awesome. It's really cool looking, and we'll do that with the various industry guys who we've done stuff with HK, and we've done stuff with Virtue, and back in the day, the highlight of Smart Parts, the private labels, they were huge. I mean, they were companies would do that, and their teams would use it, and it really, even though it was all a shocker, there were 6 or 7 different versions of it, and it all helped them build their businesses and support their teams and grow the sport and make it cool. And I kind of, it's kind of like changing the look of a Mercedes. If you go away too far from the look, it's not a Mercedes.
Absolutely.
So I
absolutely
like keeping the classic look of the Lux a Lux, and then going into letting some of our other partners and companies we team up with be more aggressive and do different type of cuts and shapes and stuff like that, and
totally.
But keep the base product what it is. And it's it's worked for 10 plus years, and believe me, it comes up. There are guys who totally disagree with that and think we need to change it, and I just I don't mind modifications, but I want it to look like a Lux. I want, anytime you see it, that's a Lux, and I think that's important.
Absolutely.
So that's my MBA for marketing advice to myself. So
I love
Can't
it.
say I disagree. Yeah, you know what a Lux looks like out there, right? And it does have a very clean and classy presence on the paintball field.
Yeah.
All right. So we have from, I just had this question. Where did it go? SoCal Blaze, our man Steve. What can DLX sponsored teams do to better promote the DLX brand? What's missing that teams could do to help with the ROI?
I mean, really, it isn't all about winning. As much as it is about winning, there can only be at the top end. I mean, if I was looking at solely, I want to have the team that wins, you're looking at a handful of options in the world. But, you look at geographically, Dynasty or Heat or Impact or, whoever might be one of the top teams in the world. But, most of the people never meet those players or see those players or interact with those players. Paintball is sort of geographic and a local area. So, if you have influence and you're good ambassadors for the sport, and, you have a lot of followers who look up, there's always that team who's the best team in, whether it be Pittsburgh or Seattle or somewhere in Texas or North Carolina. If we can have a team that represents our brand, and it isn't all about winning. I mean, let's face it, Seattle Thunder, I love those guys. I'm not sponsoring them because they're going to go win an NXL event. I'd like them to, it'd be awesome. But the reality is that's a real steep curve. But Corey is an ambassador for our sport. He he works his field and he influences people, and people look up for him, and he's a baller, he's a great guy, but I'd rather have that than necessarily the team that wins. If they don't,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have a Tim Montrosser than, a guy who's just a jerk who wins a lot. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so that's really what we're looking for. If you can build up your team, and again, things go in cycles. I mean, the dynasty, when those guys started, they were a bunch of kids, and they worked and did their butts off. And then, so who's the next dynasty out there? And, that's going to start with people who are willing to put their time and effort and love it and want to work for it as much as you guys did and as much as we did and as much as the Ironman did
Mm-hmm.
and all that. So, if you're a local team and you want to get started, it does mean you get stuff for free, but we'll try to help out. And we prefer to work with your store owner or your local field, because that you need a place to play and you need their support. So we prefer you to go through them,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll help out. And as you get more of a presence and show you can help build the Lux brand in that area, then, the more we can do. You can't say yes to everybody, and it'd probably make bad business
Yeah.
decisions. Just, you don't want to flood the market with stuff. I'd rather have a team earn it and get, as they prove that they want to be with Lux. I don't want to see a team that's just running to a company every year and switching.
Mm-hmm.
They want to start with the Lux and build it and do well. And now we're 2 years in or 3 years in, and they're playing at regional events or they're going to some NXL and winning D4s. Then, we're going to want to do more for them. But
Absolutely.
you got to work at it and earn it and give something back, whether it be to us or to local area, or build your paintball, build
Yeah.
the area up. And then that's where you'll get our interest and our help.
It's an amazing response. Yeah, like Tyler said, be a good teammate, be a good, ambassador of the sport. Bring value to DLX or to Field One or HK or JT, whoever it is that you are looking to get sponsored by. Bring value, and there's ways you can do that besides, winning and holding the gold, the gold medal at the end of the event.
if, if regardless of whether those teams are Lux or Planet or Die or whoever, if we have
Totally.
more teams with that mindset and people out there, then our whole sport's going to grow and we'll all be better
Yes.
off. And then we'll have, we'll all have a higher sponsorship budget.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
all love for the game. Yeah,
Amazing.
we got to be the best we can be for this sport. We got Rounder, who's kind of funny. He says, "So you gonna retire after this TM40? I don't think it can get much better." He says it's the best marker ever made in his opinion, and he's sticking by that. And he also is wondering, Adam, how can we get his Lux to sound like a lightsaber when he turns it on? He thinks that would be badass.
you can probably already do that. It's programmable.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do the audio files. So that's probably already very possible to do.
Nice.
I feel like I've heard a Lux with that, actually. I'm pretty positive I have at one of my clinics.
Yeah. No, that's definitely very doable. I appreciate the shout out on the TM40. We're always working. I mean, it's literally a 2-year cycle to do new development. And one of the things we did, we had struggle getting some of our prototype stuff done as this world economy has affected manufacturing and stuff, and shops get fuller. And, it's always hard to, get your shops to want to make you a part or 5 parts, and then you want to tweak it and change it. And so over the past year and a half, we've invested in some in-house machines and staff to speed up that cycle and process and do a lot better testing. We can make 10 different bolt tips and see which ones work better and try it. And that I think will go a long way in our development and our ability to continue to advance stuff. Something that we had back in the day, and we kind of lost it for a while, and now we're it doesn't mean I want to have 100 machine tools like I had before. But at the same time, it allows us to do the type of development that we need to do to, keep pushing the envelope.
Man, you're knocking these questions out of the park, Adam.
I'm surprised you don't have any haters out there. Are you screening them all?
No,
Any haters? What's the hate about?
no.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, no,
Doesn't mean they're legit,
yeah,
but that,
yeah.
there's still plenty of haters out there.
Of
Yeah.
course, there always is. But we've done a good job building a pretty fantastic community, Adam. It's all about, just love for paintball, love for the game, and trying to do whatever we can to help the sport grow, So slander and stuff like that, we've made it pretty clear it's not gonna be tolerated, within our Discord or, really on our shows.
But I'm sure that
Yeah. No, but of course, I just yeah, man, because we're all we need each other. The industry needs each other. We don't want to tear each other down. We want to help so that the entire pie can get bigger. We don't need to try to take more of the pie. Let's just make the pie bigger. That's really what it's about. But okay, my last question is from our man Kalen. You are a legend in the paintball industry. See, more compliments
There
from
you
the
go.
PTG. Yeah, see. I wondered what advice you would have for someone like me. I'm not a youngster at 41 who wants to transition their career into paintball promotion in a business with innovative and creative products.
Well, I mean, it really depends on where you want to go. I mean, I'll really give the props to field owners out there because, paintball is a tough business as a field owner. You've got to, just as a team, and a player, if you want to be successful, it's got to be your life. I mean, you've got to practice and devote. You're not going to have a weekend. Your girlfriend's probably going to break up with you, or your wife's going to want to leave you. That's just how it is if you want to do this stuff, unless you get them involved. So if you want to build paintball in your area and if you want to have a field or you want to, do something like that, you better plan on being there and you could do well if you're in the right area and you can promote it and, you have the population, you can do well, but it's not the type of business where, unless you're super lucky and you you're in California and you have this piece of land that nobody else can use, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to have to spend your weekends and your time and your money and your effort and work it and take care of the customer. Really the customers are your business, and that means treating the players fairly and making sure that kids don't get shot up and making sure everybody has fun. If everybody has fun, you're probably doing the right thing to, build your business and be successful at it. And the same thing would go for, if you wanted to have a store or whether you wanted to build a product. If, it's, the money side of it is what you eventually want to get to, but you're never going to get there unless you treat the customers right. And, if you sell them a gun, you got to be willing to help them and fix it and take care of it. If something breaks, you got to go to take training classes, go to Planet and learn how to work on their guns, and come to our factory and learn how to work on our guns and be able to answer questions. And if you have knowledge and you can instruct and share that knowledge, then people want to come to you, and then you can build it up. And that goes for a field owner or a store owner or a player or a team or, any product you want to make. It's the same steps you have to take to be successful. It's just not going to happen because, you make it, you just can't go from one to the other unless unless you maybe like make a website called Meta and then somebody wants to buy.
Oh, it's so crazy. That's so crazy. Meta. Ay.
Lottery ticket. That's
the guys
amazing
are crushing.
thing.
So
Yeah,
right.
you gotta. I mean, you really gotta put the time in, like you said, and you gotta care about the process, and then good things will happen.
one of the things I'd like to challenge you guys to do, because it seems like the internet erases the history.
Yes.
The way the browsers work and the way that things look at it, it's like the stories of the past and the accomplishments of the past and the teams of the past. I mean, if I'll bring up Quinn, I'm going to pick on him again, but in Quinn's world, paintball started with Dynasty. in many ways.
I thought it did.
And if you look at the internet searches and a lot of this stuff, it's probably true.
Mhm.
But we still need people to tell the stories of the Bob Long and the Aftershocks and the Ironman and the amazing stuff that happened in those days. And even before us, we weren't the first ones. I mean,
Yeah.
there were amazing teams before that. And I don't know how to, certainly John does stuff to try to preserve that, but it's going to take more of an effort of people to preserve those stories and that history, because it seems like the search browsers just kind of erase it. It just falls into neverland. And, unless you look up War Pig that nobody would ever even heard of now today, you're not going to see that stuff. And,
And we take that.
so
We honestly take that very seriously here at PTG. We want to make sure that we're fans of paintball from top to bottom,
right.
from beginning to end. And where we sit right now is only because of that lineage. So we take that very seriously, and always are looking to have those historic players that set the tone and set that path before us, so that we could be here having this show with you on here right now.
Right. Now, I think that's great, and I applaud that. And I mean, and it's one of those things. I mean, I could tell my son, all the
Yeah.
stories, and I'm not sure he could go try to Google and say, yeah, whatever, I don't see it. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
amazing. That's like one of the downsides of the internet and the vanishing of the magazines and the paper print and all that stuff, because it can just be erased.
Absolutely.
So.
And it's so valuable for the lineage of the game and how it all started and where we're headed. In order to
Right.
see the future, you got to see the past as well and know all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll challenge you to continue that quest. I don't expect
Yes, sir.
anyone to learn that, but anyone listening, the more that we can, let people know that, paintball was actually played in the woods before the 10-man came back, and all that stuff. Because if you didn't know, how would everything you've ever seen is X-ball,
Absolutely.
And
yeah, it's the game has been through the trenches. Literally, we've been in the trenches, and we are, making leaps and bounds into the future here. But it definitely did start with those, grassroots heritage right there. And
yeah, there was people before me, and people will probably come many, many years after me. And I think it's, as an industry, we want to try to preserve that history as much as we can, and keep these stories out there, because it's cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty
it
neat.
is.
There's some amazing characters in our sport. Not all good, not all bad, but it's kind of, somebody has to preserve that.
Yeah. Well, we're on it, brother. And you actually, speaking of legends in the game, Chris Lasoya, I hear there's like some history on how you got your headgear from Chris Lasoya. Is that right?
Beanie.
Yeah, the beanie.
Yeah, I wear that, and I get made fun of it because it always slides up, and I have that gap between my top of my goggles and my forehead, and sometimes I get shot in it.
Oh, no.
And people just shake their head. But if you guys remember the Chicago, mound hyperball field, the Diamond.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see that? Or
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was the lowest thing. You could get into third base or home plate and slide out to first, or crawl out to first, but you had to take your harness off and get so incredibly small and push your gun and everything. And I mean, I would have Bob Long and those guys would put 4 or 5 guys in the avalanche, just not letting me get out there, because if I got out there, I was going to do some damage.
Yeah.
And Chris was always right around there. And one time I crawled out there, I got to my corner, I come up and I shoot him right in the freaking head, and it bounces off his beanie, and I get shot. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And I took his beanie, and I've had it for like 20 years. Gave it to me. He was cool about it, but I showed it to him last year. I'm like, I still have this, and I still wear it.
That is so cool.
Pretty much almost every time I play. And he's like, that's just so cool, because he remembers, that exact thing happening. And you can't believe that like 20 years later, I still have this stupid beanie. So
There we go. See, some legendary
Awesome.
moments like that, preserving the history in big
Yep.
games from 20 years ago, right there.
yeah, Chris played with the All A's for an event, a World Cup.
Yeah,
So
man, what
I
a
didn't know that.
what a guy, rock star,
Cool.
Chris is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, we can't thank you enough for sharing this space with us, with the PTG Nation, and coming on here and having some fun talking about paintball. It's getting pretty late
no,
where you're at. You're on the East
yeah,
Coast there.
10:42. It's good. I'm
Yeah,
good. But yeah, no, I appreciate your being interested and having me on. It's
yeah,
always good to share some of the stories and some of the history of past, present, and hopefully future, and exciting to see what you guys do. As well. You guys are playing some amazing paintball out there, and at least Tyler's now he's come to the good side of things.
Oh,
And
that's the dark side. Don't you dare.
yeah,
You guys keep those red lightsabers in those
I
Lexus.
think dark blue is darker than red, white, and blue, but
yeah,
Hey,
so
we're light blue. Light blue.
yeah. Some, but it's great seeing what you guys are doing and watching. It's still fun. I
it
can,
is, man.
I get just as well. I won't say just as much, but almost as much fun and excitement watching the games and cheering for the team and knowing,
Mhm.
being able to relive that through you guys and seeing what you do and seeing some of the amazing moves and being like, holy shit, that was really smart.
Yeah,
Guys will shoot a bunker and then back up, and then the guy will come and do them, and you're like, yeah, that
yeah,
was really good.
got
Um,
him.
Stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to watch still today, and I applaud
Yeah,
you for that. Keep it up.
thanks, Adam.
Last question.
Yep.
Adam, as a triple OG, who do you think would win? The dynasty of today or the dynasty of 2005? Or we can go with let's
That's
just
an
go
easy.
eras. Take Houston Heat today versus like the best All A's team that they had.
Well, there's two questions. I'll answer Dynasty of today versus Dynasty of 2005. I'll say Dynasty of today, absolutely hands down, no doubt.
Hell
Mhm.
yeah.
And this is not a diss on Dynasty, but
Of course.
Dynasty's done amazing things, but I think it's far more impressive what you're doing today with still having a bunch of the guys who were there back in the day. I think that's more impressive than Dynasty of the day because, you're older. Some of them are older, but they're smarter, they're experienced, and they're still able to do it just as well now as they did it then. I will say that, everyone talks about dynasties. I think people forget that Dynasty played a number of years, and they were still good. Don't get me wrong here, but they played at a level where they were not playing the top competition in all the events, and that was a function of the NXL and what happened. It was closed, and they weren't able to.
100%.
And had Dynasty, when they finally came, which I believe was 2006, just jumped in and dominated X Ball, then I think my argument would be, wrong. But they got their butt handed to them when they first started playing X Ball. I know Philly played them and won in that Texas event, and Dynasty just got creamed. It took them a good year. I don't know exactly when they won their first event, but it was a long time. So,
They had lost Oliver too, which was a huge hit.
that is true. There's no doubt. But it wasn't like they dominated here and they dominated here and then they just dominated X Ball. They had to learn it like everybody else did, and they got really good at it, obviously. But I think when you read about it, it's like, well, Dynasty's just the best team ever, and they first game they ever played, they won, and they've been winning since, and everybody else sucks. And that's not
minus the
it would feel that way if you came in at a certain point in time and that's all you saw. But I guess my question, I'm way more impressed with what Ryan and Alex and even all the guys, I mean, even the ICC, even some of the old school guys that aren't necessarily playing X Ball anymore, those guys can still play. And
Oh yeah,
it's been years later. And that to me, I feel I think Dynasty today would probably beat Dynasty of the past because they'd probably outsmart them.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's so cool.
As far as the All A's versus Philly, it depends on where we're playing. If we're playing X-ball, they probably kick the crap out of us. If we're in the woods, we would absolutely school them.
Yeah, woods ball is no joke.
Damn, I got to see that. Yeah, woods ball is no joke. That's a whole nother beast.
The first time that Ryan at least had played some of it, but Chad and some of those guys, they had never, I don't think Fedorov's ever played in the woods.
Yeah.
I mean, Smotrov played with us at ICC, and I don't think he had ever played in the woods.
Mhm.
No, but he actually played really well, though.
He did at times.
Yeah, at times.
But it's just a whole different game. You know what I mean? It's a different skill set. And, just that whole big looking into those woods and trying to figure out what the heck to do. All A's, when we had our best teams, if we played Philly, I have no doubt we would beat them in the woods. And I have no doubt they would just kick the crap out of us on X-ball.
Paintball is the best.
Diving, left-handed, shooting like that.
Yeah, it is so cool to see, all of the forefathers that gave us all these opportunities to be playing again and having so much fun and just really enjoying the game of paintball. And once again, Adam, we salute you and everything you've done in paintball. Thank you so much for your contributions and for being here and sharing this time. We hope that you, Jude, the family have a great holidays. Everybody stay safe. And we look forward to seeing you soon in 2022 for some more fun on the paintball fields.
Sounds great, guys. I appreciate it. Keep it up, and good luck out there.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, baby, let's go.
All righty, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Peace,
Bye.
bud.
All right. That was a fantastic episode with Adam. Really cool to get his story and understand a little bit about the East Coast and that whole organization. The Philly Americans, my goodness, they're just iconic. The All-Americans, just iconic. Lux is such an iconic brand. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. We hope you guys learned a lot. I know I learned some pretty cool, interesting things on that episode, and hope to have Adam on again one day. If you guys would like, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the Patreon link, become a supporter of the show. We would greatly appreciate it, and it'll also give you access to the Discord. The Discord is absolutely lit. If you guys have not heard about it or don't know what it is, you guys need to check it out. All right, PTG fam. Hope everybody has the happiest of holidays and you guys stay safe out there. As always, we will see you very soon in 2022.